A crushing, devastating blow for the Golden State Warriors. Back in 2016, Adam Silver felt he needed to give LeBron James, a stimulus package. I love the way Stephen A. Smith delivered that line when he said it on First Take a week or so ago. Yes, a stimulus package delivered to LeBron James in 2016. And apparently, tonight confirmed to me that Adam Silver feels Anthony Edwards is the next face of the NBA because he felt Anthony Edwards needed a stimulus package by once again taking Draymond Green out of the game. It ain't no coincidence. The moment he fouled out, the Warriors' lead vanished and they lost. There's going to be other things to talk about besides the refs, but Scott Foster, shame on you. NBA, shame on you for damaging the credibility of this game with that atrocious officiating. Abysmal, embarrassing. Larry Krueger's going to join the program in just a second. Dan Coccimiglio, Frank Red, Rye Smith, Ryan Leong. It's going to be a panel edition. Might be some venting going on. But yeah, game 4 is now a must win. The refs are embarrassing. This is the Krug Show. This is Golden Days.
Woo! Let's go. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
Welcome to the Krug Show and welcome to Golden Days. While I wait for the rest of the panelists to join the program, I will introduce myself. My name is Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at DogWild, over on Twitter at Surf Journalist. Today's program is brought to you by, I have 2 sponsors that are perfect for any moment like this because they're going to brighten the mood. They're going to make you feel better about things. And goddamn does Dub Nation need a dose of that after this atrocious game, this horribly officiated game. You know what they needed? You know what Scott Foster needs? He needs to listen to some goddamn music, and some good music at that. Maybe clear his head. Maybe make him reflect on the fact that taking bribes, taking money under the table, fixing games is unethical. He needs to listen to Decades, an awesome cover band that will liven up your party. Larry Krueger's in the house. Oh, he's giving me give me 1 second, right?
Give me 1 minute.
You got it, brother. You got it. You do your thing. I got sponsors to give love to. Larry's going to join the show in just a second. But Decades is there for you, whether it's a corporate fundraiser, whether it's a birthday, whether it's an anniversary, whether it's just a good old-fashioned backyard rager, whatever the event is that you want some live music for, Decades is the band for you. Go to decadesofficial.com to learn more about them, to figure out how to contact them if you want to book them, or just email Kyle at atomicmusicgroup.com. Again, Kyle at atomicmusicgroup.com. He's your man. And if you mention Golden Days or the Krug Show or any names affiliated with either program, they'll give you a discount. That's how cool they are. They're also Golden Dazers. They're as heartbroken and stricken as I am right now following that performance. They're also Niners fans. They play every Niners pregame show next door to Levi Stadium at Great America. They're called Red Zone Rallies. Decades the band for that, and Decades is the band for you. Decadesofficial.com is the website. Go check it out. Hire them and thank me later, because I guarantee, just like what Prestige Worldwide did to the Catalina wine mixer, Decades will do for you. Today's episode also brought to you by Visit Humboldt. I want to go there right now. I'm bitter. I need some fresh air, some clean water, some awesome breweries, some amazing wineries, some delectable restaurants, some national and state parks to just get away from it all. That's what Humboldt's all about. It's literally a 3 to 4 hour drive north of the San Francisco Bay Area. It's awesome. It's beautiful, and it's available for you. Short drive away, and it's a beautiful drive, unlike that drive to LA on the I-5, which is nap-inducing, the complete opposite when you're driving to Northern California, the real Northern California, and Humboldt. Visit Humboldt.com. Take your worries away. Think about something besides Warriors basketball, because I'm guessing everybody needs that right now. I think Larry Krueger is ready to go. I'm done with my sponsors. Larry, who's paying your bills? Let me switch this up so we're appropriate. And who's taking care of you, brother? I know Pick and a Pickle is first up.
Well, yes, we're the title sponsor of the Krug Show is Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. We're also brought to you by Claw Daddy Arcades. They're a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find an arcade location near you. We're also brought to you by LearnKey Upskill Academy, an online learning platform designed to get you job ready in 6 months or less. The links are in the description below. And we're brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Brand new sponsor is Mancini Sleep World. Make sure you use the code KRUG10 at checkout. And you'll get 10% off at Mancini Sleep World. And, of course, thanks to Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles as well. They are been a longtime sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out. They are at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, along the Monterey Peninsula. My good friend Anthony Catania is down there for all your sports cards and collectible needs at 831-521-5264.
I need to reach out to Anthony Catania and ask him, after a game like this, what is the value of Jonathan Kuminga's trading cards? What is the value of Jimmy Butler's? This was, brother, let's start with the officiating. The final score of this game, a very frustrating game, 102-97. The Warriors looked like they had this under control until Draymond Green fouls out. And no coincidence that it all started going downhill after that. Great to see you, brother. People can follow you on Twitter, among many social media platforms, at SportsLarryK. Your reaction to a bummer of a loss. I'm looking at you, Scott Foster. If someone swings a club and it happens to crack your skull, I ain't shedding tears, man, because that was embarrassing, frustrating, unethical. Your thoughts, Larry? Great to see you.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go there. To me, Golden State just doesn't have enough offense. They're not going to win this series. They don't have enough offense without Steph Curry. I mean, as you saw Steve Kerr say in the pregame, we're a totally different team. We're a totally new team. So, I mean, live by pods, die by pods. I mean, Pods was god awful tonight. He was 1 for 10. He was horrible. Draymond Green, guess what? You got to just establish a little bit more self-control. You're the guy. You're one of the key guys on this team.
Do you think those fouls were legit, though, Larry? I mean, do you think it's fair that he
took a bad angle?
I look at the
bad angle. He took a bad angle there. It's a foul. Let him dunk it.
All 6 fouls were fair. So none of those 6 fouls.
No, I'm not saying that, but on the McDaniels dunk at the end, let him dunk it. So what? So they have a 4-point lead. So what? There's plenty of time left. You needed to stay on the floor. So I blame Draymond Green for losing his mind there. Also, he didn't provide any offense tonight at all.
No.
He also didn't do anything on the glass at all. It was not a good game for Draymond Green. I thought it was a good game for Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga, but then Jimmy Butler didn't score in the final 8 minutes. And that's where this thing came apart. I mean, Jimmy Butler's line looks good. 33 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. You can't really, blame Jimmy, but in crunch time, this game was this was a 2-point game with 6 minutes to play. This was anybody's game at the end.
It was a 5-point Warriors lead with 6 and change to play. It
was a 2-point. It was, yeah, you're right. But I mean, it was also a 2-point game. It was anybody's game with right around 6 minutes to play. I mean, Podziemski 1 for 10. That hurt.
Awful.
That really hurt. Moses Moody 0.
Well, he barely
didn't play much. Barely played, but I mean, he didn't. He's not giving him anything.
No.
Post gave him no points at all. You
And
know, he played
Yeah.
Looney 18 minutes. Looney did some okay things.
He fouled out as well. Who also fouled out.
Kuminga, Buddy Hield, I thought needed to be Buddy Hield without Steph Curry needs to be a bigger offensive contributor than he is. I mean, he took 11 shots, so he needs to take more shots. I like that what I saw from Jimmy in this first half. I thought he came out assertive, and then I kind of thought the other key factor was Gobert. Gobert's 3-point play on the dunk, on the foul, and he made the free throw to make it 93-86.
But his defense was much more a bigger factor, I thought.
But I mean, Gobert was good in this game, and I thought he was a major factor. So I mean, it wasn't. I mean, Edwards was a non-factor in the second quarter. He barely even shot. I think his first shot in the second quarter didn't come until there was like a minute left in the quarter. So he did nothing in that second quarter. But the Warriors lost connection at times in this game with Naz Reid. He had a couple big threes. But it was all there for them at the end. They just don't have enough offense without Steph Curry to get it done. And Draymond Green can't let himself foul out there. Draymond Green has a unique role with no Steph Curry on this team. With no Steph Curry, he's becomes a very vitally important facilitator. And as soon as he fouled out, that hurt their chances of scoring quite a bit.
Frank, great to see you. The Frank Red. You can follow him on Twitter at Big Frank Red, host of the Dungeon Show. Frank, there was a lot to break down in this very disappointing game. What I saw, first of all, the Draymond Green fouling out. You're right, Larry. You're absolutely right. Offensively, he didn't bring a lot to the table. He attacked the paint a few times, and Rudy Gobert defensively was a beast. Jimmy Butler, despite the scoring night, 33 points tonight, added 7 rebounds, 7 assists. When he tried to finish at the rim, there was more than one occasion where Rudy Gobert, who finished this game with 4 blocks, caused issues. There were a lot of missed baskets there because of that. He was incredible defensively, but the offense. Look, the Draymond thing, I want to finish on Draymond Green real fast. And Frank, sorry, I'll go to you in just 1 second here. But we're reminded of this. Draymond Green, I thought when he fouled out, the Warriors lost any hope of slowing down the player that, to me, was the difference in this game. And most people will say Anthony Edwards, and I get that. Anthony Edwards had 36 points in this game, and most of those came in the second half. Because I think in the first half of this game, if I have my stats correct here, Anthony Edwards had just 8 points. So he really poured them on in a huge second half. But the moment Draymond Green fouled out, you saw Julius Randle do his thing. Julius Randle played 40 minutes and 25 seconds tonight, 24 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists. They call that a triple-double. And his life got easy. The moment Draymond came out of this game, I thought it was the difference between the Warriors leading by 5. Dre gets fouled out, the only guy making any difference defensively on Randle, and then Randle goes to town, Edwards goes to town. And again, the offense, I get it. 97 points is not a lot, but when you're failing to get stop after stop defensively, that was the backbreaker in this because you were still winning with just 5-6 minutes to go. And then Dre gets fouled out. This officiating was a nightmare. They literally called a foul on Draymond Green on a challenge that had nothing to do with him. Scott Foster looked like a man who had a bias tonight. Drove me insane. Frank, great to see you. What's your reaction to this game tonight?
I mean, I try to be unemotional about it. It was a tough game. I think everybody knew that it was going to be close, and it was going to come down to half-court execution late in the games. Minnesota executed just a little bit better. As simple as that. Gobert made 5 or 6 free throws. That's not something that anybody would count on. He's 57% from the free throw line. So give him credit. I mean, he caused a lot of problems, as you guys have said, at the rim late. But I think the Warriors just lost their poise a little bit. We can go back to when the Warriors were down 7. Buddy Hield comes off the curl, makes a 3-pointer. It's a 4-point game with 1:56 to go. They get a defensive stop. They come down, and Buddy Hield inexplicably comes up a high pick and roll and hoists another 3. Just a horrible shot. All you needed was 2 points. Drive to the basket. All those guys had 5 fouls. They were going to foul you. Go to the line. Now it's a 2-point game with like 1:30 to go. All right. Draymond Green going to the basket, getting stripped was a good call. Transition basket on the other end, put him up maybe like 3 or 4. Kuminga getting stripped late. I think that was the Gobert play where he makes the 3-point play. So this is a very, very close game.
Yeah.
The only challenge I have now is I look at Minnesota, I go, oh, they can play better. I don't think the Warriors can play better than they play today. You know, I really don't. I made the statement the last time we were on. I said that Houston thinks that Pod sucks. Minnesota thinks that Pod sucks. Chris Finch, the former assistant of the Houston Rockets, I'm sure he got some of their scouts and all. You know, he's making phone calls. I mean, you can't play that many minutes and shoot 1 for 10. I love Pod's grit. He's tough, but he's basically a non-factor on the offensive end. The referees can't stand him. I've never seen a player with such average credentials talking to the referees as much as he does.
I've never heard that until just now, Frank. You really think that? You think the officials hate Pods in
yes,
addition
I do.
to
Yes. Yes, I do. And why?
He's not doing himself any favors if that's the case.
Why? Because he's always complaining to referees. These are the best of the best. They're watching the game just like we are. His grit, his defense, he was great. You can't be on the court that much and shoot 1 for 10, wide open shots, and then question these officials that could be your daddy. Some of them, Foster and these cats. So, I'm okay. I think there's a chance of victory for Game 4, but they got to play almost perfect basketball. They have to.
And the Podziemski, we do need to focus on him because he made 1 field goal the entire game, finished with 5 points, and that 1 3-pointer he made was set up largely by Jimmy Butler. I don't know if you remember that play specifically, where Butler had just a wide open 3, and you saw him do what he often likes to do, which is facilitate, get his teammates involved. And in that play, that possession, the strategy worked. He kicked out. Podziemski was wide open, sunk it. And you thought to yourself, at least I did, oh, wow, okay, that was a confidence-building decision. And maybe we'll start seeing these shots fall from Podziemski. Nope. He finished again with 5 points. And maybe this stat is most pathetic for the Warriors tonight. Podziemski led the team in rebounding with 8. So at least he was doing something, but I don't know if you want Brandin Podziemski leading your team in rebounding, and you certainly don't want him finishing a game where you need points with Steph out 1 for 10 from the field. Larry, he played 39 minutes and 8 seconds. Frank said Frank, based off your messaging, it sounds like hope might be lost for the Warriors if you think Minnesota can play even better, and this was the best possible performance the Warriors could do. Larry, is there hope for the Warriors, or are there adjustments to be made based off what you saw tonight?
Well, I definitely don't think this is the best the Warriors can play. I mean, I don't think that. I know what Frank is saying, though. They're very limited. I mean, tonight was a good example. I mean, Butler and Kuminga. Butler came out, was hunting shots. Kuminga had a much better game than we've seen. Those two guys combined for 63 points. And if you look at their field goals, the efficiency was there. Those two guys shot 53, almost 54% from the field and hit 5 of 8 threes. Look at what the rest of the Warriors did. The rest of the Warriors shot 32%, combined for 34 points. You're not beating a playoff caliber team like the T-Wolves in the second round without Steph Curry when you only have 2 guys show up. I mean, they had Butler and Kuminga show up. The rest of the team shot 5 of 15 from 3, combined for 34 points, and shot 32%. That's it. Somebody else needed to step up. You can beat this T-Wolf team without Steph Curry. You need 3 guys to step up every time, and they had 2 step up for him tonight. And if they don't find a third, and I don't know who that third is, but if they don't find a third from a group that includes, Moses Moody, Payton, Post, Pods, Healed, Draymond, if they don't find a second points, provider, or a third, I should say, it's over. It's over. They're not going to be able to do it. Somebody besides Jimmy and Kuminga, or besides Butler and Kuminga, is going to have to provide some points.
Let me step in 1 second. Larry, I said that I don't know if the Warriors can play better offensively. They can play better defense. I mean, if you allow Anthony Edwards to get what he had 38, 36, then you're not going to win. He has to score 25 to 28, so they can win the game. I expect them to win on Monday, but offensively, you're right. When I look at the pieces, I go, well, who's going to step up and play better? I don't know. Maybe Pods has one of those games where he turns the clock back and plays against the Lakers and has 27. But right now, he's basically playing 4 against 5. He has to find his confidence like Kuminga did and contribute offensively. You can't play 39 minutes and be that porous offensively. So I think that they can win, but they got to do some other things better.
I mean, I feel like the message here, the goal for the Warriors here is survive until Steph can come back. And again, some people think he's gone for the series. Like, my prediction is best case scenario, game 6. They got to survive. They got to at least get a split here at home. Disappointing loss tonight. And there were positives, and we're going to touch on that in a second. But one negative that I have to bring up here, and this has been a point of consternation for me all season, largely because of the fact that I just don't get the minutes. I get the role, and I love it in spot moments. But GP2 getting 25 minutes, 34 seconds, 2 points total. And I know he's not out there for offense. He's out there for defense. But Frank, you brought up Anthony Edwards tonight getting 36 points. 28 of those came in the second half. And I saw GP2 assigned to him for a lot of those possessions. He could not stop Anthony Edwards. And it makes me think, if he can't stop Anthony Edwards, which is really the primary purpose of GP2 on your roster, why is he even playing? And what I saw, which was really disturbing, and I even have this in my notes, it was about the 6-minute mark. The Warriors called the timeout. And Steve Kerr, who even I give incredible credit to for scheming, for a brilliant system in place, for ATOs, he scripted an ATO for a GP2 corner 3. I have no idea what Kerr was thinking there. That shot bricked. GP2 finishes with 2 points in 25 minutes, does not play effective defense on Anthony Edwards. That's just one example of many that I've pointed out this season that doesn't make any sense in terms of minutes going to certain players. Larry, I'll start with you, sir. What do you think about GP2? And am I overstating that the minutes there being egregious?
Well, I mean, GP2 did not have a particularly good game, that's for sure. GP2 is sometimes it doesn't show up in the box score, as you know, because he's a defensive player, and a lot of his value is about turning off other players offensively. But yeah, I mean, 26 minutes. Well, what'd he do? What'd he contribute? He took 4 shots. He took a couple threes. He missed them both. He pulled 1 rebound. He had no assists. He had 1 steal. He had no blocks. I mean, he didn't really get a lot done. 25 minutes. I mean, like, what would you say you do here? He was running up and down. He didn't get a lot done. I'll say the other thing that really jumped out is that Golden State at halftime of this game had battled Minnesota, a bigger team, even on the boards. And then the second half, it was Minnesota +9 on the boards. And I thought that was a major factor in a game where, the outcome was 5 points and it was anybody's game at the end. Being -9 on the glass in the second half absolutely crushed them.
And Frank, get your thoughts on GP2. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have a particularly good game offensively. He didn't make any timely offensive shots. But, I mean, the Warriors don't have any guards. He has to play. I don't know how many minutes he's going to play. And I think he did okay on Anthony at times. But you got to run a guy at him. This is a top 5 player. And tonight he played like a top 5 player. He's a better player than Luka. I mean, to me, among the young guys in the league, he's the best player. And he showed why tonight. So, I mean, GP2, if he's not contributing offensively, it's a tough watch. But, he plays a lot of heart, maybe 20 minutes as opposed to 26. But he has to play. They just got to help him out more. I think they have to help him.
Well, let me ask you guys this, because one of the things that jumps out to me is that you don't have Steph Curry. You're the smaller team, and yet the Warriors got 7. This game was almost played entirely in the half court. You only got 7 fast break points. I mean, if you're going to beat this Minnesota team, and when you're going to do it without Steph Curry, you're going to have to get out and get some buckets in transition. You're not going to be able to out score this team when they've got a scorer like Anthony Edwards and you don't have Steph Curry. So I'd like to see whatever the plan is for game 4. I'd like to see it include, rip and run a little bit. I mean, let's see if you can get out and get some buckets in transition. If you're going to try to do this entirely in the half court, and if Pods is going to shoot like this and you're going to try to do this in the half court and you're not going to have Steph, I mean, forget it. Just forget it.
I think part of the problem was, Larry, is Minnesota's defense is good. I don't think they're as good as Houston's, but they are good. And the Rudy Gobert factor is, I think, a part of that. Why the Warriors aren't getting those opportunities, because Steve Kerr agrees with you, Larry. He loves transition buckets. He loves a fast-paced offense. Pace is the name of the game. The Kyle Anderson DNPs back when he was on the team earlier this year was largely because Kyle Anderson does not match the pace that Steve Kerr likes. And you're right. Tonight, the transition buckets were not there. On the other side of the coin, though, and this is what happens when you do play Jonathan Kuminga, and we are going to talk about him because I thought he had a fantastic game, and it raises all sorts of questions about the way he's been treated for his entire career, really. But the Warriors' points in the paint-wise did step up. They actually won that battle 48-46. But as you mentioned, Larry, the transition points, it was 7-5. This was just a slog fest. The ball didn't move slow. What did you see, Frank, in terms of what Larry brought up about transition and the Warriors really not pushing the ball a lot tonight?
I think you're spot on. I mean, and as you said, that's Steve Kerr's agenda. I mean, you see him on the sideline, he's waving his hand, but guess what? Being on the court and playing in those types of arenas, the Warriors are gassed, man. I mean, part of Draymond always brings a certain amount of heart. But remember those long passes he made tonight? They were off a little bit. But he was thinking, I need to get the ball down the court. But he overthrew a couple of guys who were in position to make easy layups. So the mind was there, but I think the body wasn't there. Imploring these guys to get down the court. And I just think they were tired. But he needs to reemphasize that, listen, 4-6 points on Monday night might be the difference between a win and a loss off of easy baskets. So I agree with the philosophy. They got to go out and execute it.
Gentlemen, who should be the player of the game tonight? Because Jimmy Butler had 33 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, did have 4 turnovers. Draymond Green had 5 turnovers. The Warriors had 15 total versus incredibly 21 for Minnesota. I thought the Warriors defensively for the most part did a good job tonight, but Jimmy Butler, outside of those 4 turnovers, I thought played a great game. Nothing statistically defensively. Did have 9 trips to the free throw line, made 7 of 9 free throws. So either Jimmy Butler, 33 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, or Jonathan Kuminga, who came off the bench, played 35 minutes, 52 seconds. My entire argument for this kid has always been just play the damn kid. He's too good for DNPs. He's too good to rot on the bench like that. My critique of Kerr has always been, when it comes to evaluating talent, it's sus, as the kids like to say. I don't trust it. And tonight was further evidence of why you don't bench him. 30 points for Kuminga, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 3 of 4 from deep. I know one of the threes was in garbage time, pretty much. 11 of 18 from the field total. Larry, who is our player of the game? Is it Jimmy Butler or Jonathan Kuminga? And your analysis of these two players on the night, because I thought they were one of the only bright spots for the Warriors.
Well, yeah, I mean, Butler and Kuminga combined for 30 of the Warriors' 42 first half points. I mean, they just totally dominated. And that Butler spin move when he had Edwards locked on,
yes,
he gave him the jab step to the left, thinking that he was going to the middle of the lane, and Edwards took one false step and he spun off of it. That was a beautiful move. I mean, that was a beautiful move.
It was.
It reminds me of a young Larry Krueger in the half court. I'm just joking.
Well, you're 6'2", Larry. You have the build for it.
You had to have the moves on the. You had to have the up and unders. No, but I was just that to me was a great play. I would say I would give this undoubtedly to Jimmy Butler, but Jimmy Butler was a no-show at the end of the game when this game was lost. So no, I'm sorry. Jimmy Butler was awesome, but they needed Jimmy Butler to take it over at the end, and he was unable to. So I'm going to say Jonathan Kuminga. I thought, first of all, and once again, I mean, A game like this is another example. Some people would say, well, they lost. See, this is why Kerr doesn't play them, because when he piles up stats like this, they lose. But this is what, if Steve were here and we were being real with each other, and this wasn't necessarily on air, I'd be like, Steve, I think you're a great coach. I think you're a really bright guy, but there's just no doubt that you failed this year in that you can play Jonathan Kuminga and you can play to win, but you can't seem to play Jonathan Kuminga while you're playing to win. It's like you play Jonathan Kuminga, to get through games and to get through moments when you don't have other guys and this and that, but you failed. You couldn't get Jonathan Kuminga, your one lottery pick addition to this team. You couldn't get that lottery pick to give you anything consistent with your stars. You didn't trade them, but you couldn't get anything out of them. And so you failed, and your failure in getting the most out of Kuminga is really the reason that you guys are going home.
And the fact that he couldn't get anything out of him because he just didn't play him. That's the part that makes it hard for me to stomach. Frank, what are your thoughts on those two players tonight?
Well, I mean, fortunately, because it's music to my ears, we are three of the biggest Jonathan Kuminga supporters. I mean, I would say you're the biggest, and I don't know who comes in second, but all of us really like the guy. This is one of the biggest travesties in recent history in sports. It really is. First and foremost, Jonathan Kuminga is clearly the player of the game, all right? Because we expect Jimmy Butler to play Jimmy Butler basketball, and that's what he did. I was thinking about this. Jonathan Kuminga actually is partly responsible for Jimmy Butler's success because Jimmy Butler can beat any NBA player one-on-one. You can't stop him, for a myriad of reasons that I could talk about. But tonight, after a while, when they had to consider Jonathan Kuminga. And what that did was it opened the other side of the court and the spacing and driving lanes for Jimmy Buckets. And he went out there and played a hell of a game. I think he was a little tired at the end, which is why he couldn't finish over the top of Gobert. But, I mean, I admire Kerr, man. I admire this guy for so many different reasons. But the fact that he couldn't get out of his own box with regards to Kuminga, regardless of what he allegedly did or what he didn't do, it's just sad, man. This guy's in year 4. Everybody around the world is watching this guy. Anybody who thinks that this guy is not going to go to another team and average 20 points a game, you don't know basketball. So I'm happy he got his opportunity on this stage. Hopefully he'll play even better on Monday. But the Warriors failed this kid. There's absolutely no doubt about it.
Yeah, and it's not too late. We got Dan Coccimiglio about to join us in just a second. But first, I want to play the soundbite from Steve Kerr because someone did ask him about Brandin Podziemski and the performance or lack thereof from the kid tonight. Podziemski, the youngest player on the Warriors, JK, the second youngest. Here is Steve Kerr following tonight's loss talking about Brandin Podziemski.
We know Brandin does so many things well besides scoring. He led the team in rebounds tonight, but just how much do you need his offense and his scoring, especially with Steph out?
Well, if things bounce the other way and we're in here with a win, nobody cares that he didn't score a lot. So when the game goes in one direction or the other, it's easy to kind of look at different stats or different things. BB's not, a big scorer. He's a basketball player. He does a lot of great things out there. Thought he played really well tonight. The shots didn't go, but I'm confident that they'll go in game 4.
1 of 10 shooting performance, and Steve Kerr said he played well tonight. Dan Coccimiglio, good to see you. Your reaction to those comments in this game tonight?
Yeah. Kerr's just protecting his player. That's coaches do there, but obviously he didn't play well, Pods. But the game itself, I thought the game turned at when Draymond took that risk and let Randall beat him, score, and then he comes down the court and then turns it over. Draymond, I look at Draymond and I say to myself, he plays the 5 on this team. You got to get more than 2 rebounds. Come on, dude. I mean, if you're not going to score, get some rebounds. I mean, he's not the rebounder he used to be. When Draymond was, 3, 4, 5 years ago, guy was getting double-digit rebounds in these playoff games. We don't see that anymore from him.
I saw him getting killed on the glass tonight by Gobert routinely. Gobert was causing problems, man. Larry, you brought that up at the very beginning of the show on the offensive side of the glass. And some of those problems with his size were included putbacks, easy buckets, but he was a problem. And Dan, I think you're right. Draymond Green usually doesn't look like a small player out there, despite his 6'6", 6'7" height. Incredibly strong individual, which is why he can handle playing the 5, despite being smaller in stature, at least height-wise. He's got the wingspan. Again, insanely strong dude. He looked small tonight. I agree with you. And I didn't see the rebounding number until just now. 2. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's not good. And the other thing is that he's got such license with Kerr. Golden State challenged that call because Draymond demanded they challenge it, and then they lost the challenge and blew their challenge opportunity there when he picked up his 4th foul in the third quarter.
Do you agree that was a bad call? Like they should have overturned that?
I don't know. I mean, my point is that it just seems like Kerr will always, if Draymond says challenge, he'll challenge. Overall, the Golden State had their chances in this game. But they're going to have to be, I got to be honest here. I think Minnesota's not playing all that well, and they're up 2-1.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota's consistently falling into the trap of let's live on the perimeter. And why would you? You've got this donut team that's got nothing in the middle. You've got size for days. Randall's a horse. Gobert's a monster. You could totally dominate Golden State all night, every game inside. And yet they settle for perimeter shots, and it's like
it's kind of scary.
Edwards doesn't seem to, he kind of comes and goes, and they could be absolutely blitzkrieging this Warrior team. And
what's scary is DiVincenzo and Naz Reid combined for 11 points, and they won. What happens if these guys go off for combined 25, 30?
Yeah, Frank brought that up, how Minnesota, and Larry as well, that we haven't seen the best of Minnesota yet. Yeah, the Warriors are in trouble. I don't think anyone's doubting that.
I'll say this. I said this the other day, but I'll say it right now. The Warriors are done winning games. Okay, it's over. They're not going to win any of these games. They're going out, boom, 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 because they can't in a 4-quarter game score enough. I mean, this was the game to get. The first game back at home after you bounce back after the losing game 3 on the road or losing game 2 on the road. This was going to be the game that was going to favor Golden State. I think Golden State's going to have a hard time without Steph Curry just winning any games. I mean, they got 30 out of Kuminga tonight, and they still couldn't get it done. So he hasn't been doing anything. So Podziemski is too inconsistent. Buddy Hield is way too inconsistent. If you're leaning on Buddy Hield and Podziemski, you're going to be hurting.
Here's the thing what Draymond said, though, and this is what I admire about Pods. He does have irrational confidence. And when you think that he's dead and not coming back, he finds a way to resuscitate himself, and he comes up and has a great game. If Pod scores 15 points tonight, the Warriors win. So he's capable of playing better basketball. He's on a bad run right now. He can't play 39 minutes if he's playing this poorly. But I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out on Monday night and has a damn good game because he believes in himself so much. Even Draymond was terrible tonight by his standards. If Draymond has 10 points tonight and gets 7, 8 rebounds, the Warriors win. So the consensus is, you're right, Larry, the Warriors are in trouble. But the optimist in me, looking at both teams, playing at home, which is a factor, I think, I see a gateway where the Warriors are going to be close like they were tonight. If they execute a little bit better, I think they're going to win a game. So we'll see.
Some paid chats here we can get to. Kyle Silva, 499, saying such a waste. Jimmy Butler was amazing, except for the last 8 minutes where he did not score a point. Feels like he got a little gassed late, which could explain it. But besides Kuminga, he has no help. Podziemski has to make a basket. Damn, man, we had it. And I don't have it in front of me, but it was like 5 or 6 minutes remaining in this game, and the Warriors were up 5. And
80 to 75.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up what the minute mark was.
Well,
when
when Buddy Hield made the three, okay. I guess at that point Minnesota was up 93-89. You're saying Warriors were up?
Warriors were up the last time they were up 5. It was the Warriors were up 82
7:18 remaining. They were up
82 to 77 with 7:18
Yes.
remaining.
They were up 7.
They were up 75-69 with 9:54 left.
Yeah.
And they were
and it
still
all
up
started going
5.
downhill.
Still up 5 with 7:18 to left.
And then
Yeah.
Edwards hit the deep 3 over Pods. Naz Reid hit the corner 3. Butler hit a 3. Randall scored inside. I mean, you had a number of things there going on. Randall did kind of come alive there in like
Big time.
there was. Yeah, I mean, looking at this, this shot chart, there's no question there in the fourth. He had as soon as Draymond checked out, it was like Randall was just like, hey, this is my opportunity to score a couple easy buckets, and he did.
Because you saw Jimmy Butler was trying to pick up the slack, and he was defending Randall for a little bit, and Randall was practically laughing at that. Jimmy Butler is an awesome player, but he's not a 4. And again, this is one of my general disagreements with Kerr. Like, certain players should not be playing the 4. They should not be playing the center position. Jimmy Butler's one of those. Kawhi Leonard makes Jimmy Butler look small. Never mind Julius Randle. Butler can't handle that assignment, and that's a problem. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not, but yeah, it's the Draymond fouling out I thought was massive because Julius Randle just started feasting. If you can pull it, push it along, dropping $9.99 saying, I've been vindicated, have I? Thank you for the compliment, saying I'm smart, Kerr's stupid. The debate is over. Your thoughts? Is the debate over?
No, Kerr, come on. Kerr's a Hall of Fame coach. But, the bottom line is this.
That's a bullshit line, though, Larry. I mean,
he's a Hall of Fame coach.
Labels to defend someone, right? I mean, can you?
He earned the label. I mean, what the hell, Si? It's
How did he earn it?
Through coaching, through winning.
More specifically, like, give me specifics, Larry, because anybody could have gotten 2 championships with those Steph and Curry KD teams. What has he done specifically to make you think that he should get this deferential treatment that so many people give him?
I mean, in the last title, the Warriors were not the best team in the league. I didn't think. They just were the team that didn't fracture. No, I don't think they were. If you go back and look at the other teams in the league, there were teams that were as talented or more talented than the Warriors the year they won the title over the Celtics. They just were the last team standing because he kept the thing together. I
predicted.
You got to give Steve some credit for being kind of like Phil in that his teams typically don't fracture. They typically stay together. It's a volatile league. We see teams fracture and quit. Heck, the Denver Nuggets just dumped their coach like 2 minutes before the playoffs started. There's all kinds of volatility.
And they're up 2-1, by the way, so you know.
Yeah, but
I don't know if this supports your
volatility. There's all kinds of volatility in the NBA. Steve Kerr does a great job at blocking out a lot of the BS and getting the group from Halloween to the 4th of July. I mean, that's basically what it is. Let's keep a volatile group of big egos. Everybody's kissing everybody's ass. Everybody thinks they're the greatest thing there is. And he's got to bring that thing along. And you got volatility. And you got guys like Draymond who are, going to the beat of their own drummer. I understand your criticism of Kerr. I think a lot of it's very, very fair, which is why I don't challenge you on it. But if we're going to back away and take a macro view and have credibility, and I know that's what everybody on this panel wants, you got to give Kerr his career. He's been a very successful guy, and it's because he can operate. I mean, yeah, he sat Tatum, but they won the gold medal. So there are people that hate him. Is like, oh man, he blew Tatum. That was BS. Other people would say, hey man, gold medal. Well,
because Steph carried his ass in that semifinal.
Okay.
I'm not going to give him a pass
Players
for that.
League.
He
the Players
lucked
League. Every coach that's ever won a title, there's a great player who played great behind it.
True.
So
True.
we can't just not give Kerr anything. I do agree that Kerr is not a perfect coach, that he's totally fucked up the Jonathan Kuminga thing to death, and that he bears some responsibility for being stubborn at times.
Let
But
me ask you guys something on that,
let's
Larry.
not throw out Steve Kerr's entire coaching career as, in some chat line, he's an idiot, he's stupid, he's this. Come on.
What I've always said about
there's got to
Kerr-
be a sense of fairness. I mean, that's where I'm.
fair. And what I've always said about Kerr, and I'll stick by this to the end: brilliant schematically, system-wise, implementing, a scheme that is clearly effective. He's brilliant at that. Like, I want my team playing like the way Steve Kerr has it set up. It's the personnel decisions, man. It's his evaluating who should play, who should not.
I agree.
play.
But can we? At least you have to give me this. You have a very complicated situation here. It's not Hasso Plattner, the owner of the Sharks, who's driving around Switzerland and is loosely related.
I don't know that story. What's the backstory there?
My point is, Joe Lacob is a hands-on owner. He's not sitting in another continent having tea.
Is that what the Sharks owner's doing?
Yeah, Hasso Plattner lives in like Switzerland or something.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Joe is hands-on. Let's be honest. Joe's a gigantic pain in the ass. I can't stand even listening to him talk like twice a year. He's full of himself. He's got his kids in the front office. Steve's got to operate and create. I mean, I might be impacted on who I played if the owner was right there in my ear, or if I was trying to, there's just a lot of factors here. This is not the easiest job. This is one of the NBA's hardest jobs. The expectations are through the roof. You've got volatile players. You've got an owner, his kid. It's just there's a lot going on. I think Steve, for the most part, I'm pleased with the job that Steve has done. How could we not be? The results have been there. I'm not saying, though, it's not like Steve had some, he's done it with way less. No. Don Nelson did it with way less, and there are coaches that have done it with way less. Steve's not one of them. But you do have to give him credit because the group doesn't fracture.
More specifically, I'll add to, instead of group, I look at it strictly as Draymond Green. And I will give Kerr credit for that. Draymond Green is not a player that's easily manageable. And I think Kerr, a huge reason why Lacob appreciates him is because without Dre, you get 0 championships and you need a coach to manage that. I'll give him credit 100% for that. Dan, sorry to cut you off.
Now, I have this theory about, because you talked about Kuminga, and I know the whole thing about Kuminga not playing. I may be off on this, but I think I might be onto something.
We'll be the judge of that. We'll be the judge of that. Oh, go ahead.
I don't think Steph likes playing on the court with Kuminga because it messes the flow up. And let me explain why. Jimmy Butler goes down. Jonathan Kuminga, DNP. Nowhere to be found. Steph Curry's out. Kuminga's the go-to guy. He's playing loose in the offense. And then we heard Steph on the.
Cy doesn't agree with this though, because I've been saying that I think Steph is one of the reasons Kuminga is not playing, and you're putting it on Kerr, and I'm saying he definitely's got to be consulting Steph.
Well, think about this. Why did he not play when Butler was out? He didn't play. DNP. Now think about what Steph said. When is Kuminga going to play? And in the press conference, Steph says, well, what's he got to do? Well, he's got to be in the right place on defense. He's got to be at the right sets on offense. He's just basically saying Kuminga's got to do it right. And then Kuminga got like in the game and then he was out. Remember? Now, Steph's not out there now. All of a sudden, Kuminga is like unleashed. I bet you, I just kind of think that Steph doesn't like the fact that he clogs up what Steph wants to do on offense.
Yeah, I mean, you got one head coach, coach your team. You know what I'm saying? You got a star player. And I mean, we all respect Stephen Curry. He's awesome, one of the best, but he's not the coach. And the reality is, if you're a coach, you have to have an expectation of sometimes not being in line with everything your star player wants you to do. My thing is adjust the offense then. There's no way I can have a guy that talented on my team who's raw and not teach him a few principles that can get him on the court, because he does things that no one else can do. I mean, one time Kerr made a comment that Kuminga didn't play, but Guy Santos didn't play either. I'm like, come on, coach. Stop it. Now, I'm like all of you guys. I admire Kerr, and I never critique Kerr's coaching ability. Never.
Neither have I.
Never. But not playing Kuminga.
It's true. I never have. It's always been the personnel decision. Sorry, go ahead. But it has.
But not playing Kuminga, again, that is one of the worst things that I've seen in NBA history. This is year 4. And like you got to, I mean, if he's not going to work for your system, then you trade him year 4.
When Larry said that too.
Of course.
And Larry said that too.
Larry's been saying it for 8 months.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my problem, because you can ruin this kid's career, and he doesn't deserve that. And just because he didn't take the contract that you allegedly offered him, there's more money on the market for him.
Somehow I think he's going to be fine, Jonathan Kuminga.
Well, this game helped him out contractually.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I mean, he's a very talented player. You could see it. Anybody who watches basketball, if you can't see that the kid's ultra talented, you're not watching the same thing. But you also have to admit that why isn't he playing when Steph's playing?
Because the coach not putting him in. That's why he's not playing.
It's not
I think I gotta believe
he can't sub himself in.
I gotta believe
it's not
Steph
when
is saying
playing. That's it, Dan. It's not when Steph's playing. He plays when Steph plays. It's Jimmy Butler is who Kerr specified that
he was out there
Kuminga's
all
not a
night
good fit
tonight
with.
with Jimmy. He was out there
You're
all
right.
night.
Well, you're right. You're right. He went against his own words. And in case you guys missed it, I want to play this again. I played this on Golden Days yesterday, but in case the Krueger Show audience and anyone else missed it, following game 2, Jimmy Butler was asked about playing with Kuminga. And in case you missed it, here it is again.
That's what you and JK, the minutes weren't real good. But you mentioned attacking. What would it be work with 2 attackers? You mentioned Kuminga can do that. How might that benefit this team?
I mean, he's a great basketball player. I can play with anybody. He can play with anybody. It's all about playing basketball the right way. That's all it is. Attack to score, attack to pass. You just make the right play over and over and over again every single time, no matter who you're out there with. Just play basketball the right way. And me and JK could thrive, can and will thrive together on the basketball floor.
And again, we can make assumptions that Stephen Curry's involved in minute decisions, rotational decisions. I'm just going off what people are actually saying, because that's all we know for certain.
Well,
Stephen Curry has said repeatedly, the Warriors aren't doing a thing without Kuminga. Jimmy Butler just said publicly, he's an awesome player. We can play together.
Think of it this way. Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler are not going to come out and say, well, we can't play with Kuminga. He doesn't know where
why are you assuming
he
other?
He doesn't know. Jimmy's not going to come out and say,
I get that.
I can't play with Jonathan Kuminga. He doesn't know where he's at on the court. He's never going to. No player is going to dog another NBA player.
Dan, I get that. I'm asking why everyone is quickly assuming that players like Stephen Curry are stepping outside their role and talking to Kerr about rotations. I don't think that's going on. And unless I know that for certain, I'm not going to make that assumption.
Okay. There's all kinds of things we don't know for certain. But
right.
I mean, Draymond Green, if you listen to some of the interviews, around the key
I listen to every interview and read every interview, Larry.
Yeah. So then, I'm just saying it for people who don't know. Draymond Green, evaluated draft prospects. So, I mean,
that's different though. Larry, there's a difference between
but I'm just saying, you're right. We don't have proof that Steph went to Steve, but you don't have proof that he didn't. And
what I do have is words from the actual players.
Yeah, but there's also
you guys are accusing them of lying.
No.
And what I'm saying is, you don't know they're lying.
No, but
you're just trying to reinforce your own arguments by saying, well, maybe they're lying. What we do know for certain is nobody.
Yeah, but here's the thing. No player is gonna
never.
Look, Frank's right. Players play, coaches coach. This is also the NBA, and this is Steph Curry. So we're not talking about any player. We're talking about Steph Curry. And we're not talking about just any team. We're talking about a dynasty that's in the twilight. And he probably, I don't think this is crazy to say this. I bet you Steph Curry has more control over how and who plays than maybe Jokic has with Denver. Well, that's a bad example now because they have no coach and he's kind of the coach. But I mean, that almost any great player has with their team. And I don't think it's unreasonable, actually, to be completely honest. I hear what you're saying, Si. We have no proof. You're right.
Well,
and you can say that over and over and over again, and you're 100% right. But Danny's point is a salient point, and I think that it's not totally crazy. You're right. We don't have the smoking gun, so a lot of it comes across.
You're never going
and we're never going to get it. But it's not what he's suggesting.
You
is hardly crazy.
You might someday.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's hardly wild. Like, if I told you, you know what?
But well, I
got an inside take. I got an inside take. Steph Curry, from time to time, has an impact beyond that of a normal NBA basketball player on the Warriors' strategy and who they play and how they play.
I'm pushing back.
If you just said that, though, I don't think anybody would be like, what? That's no way, no how. You might say, hey, you know what? I disagree. I don't think so. But
I'm going to push back.
Not that crazy.
Okay. Here's why I'm going to push back again on you two's assumptions that there is no smoking gun. There is no evidence to support your arguments. And I'll give you a reason why I think my argument is more correct. Stephen Curry has routinely been upset over his own minute usage, where like once upon a time, Stephen Curry's rotations used to be entire first quarter, entire third quarter. You play half of the second quarter, half of the fourth quarter, the second halves. And that was a fixed routine that he had for like a long time. I don't know how many years he played that. And then a few years ago, Kerr started to mess with that. He started to tinker with Stephen Curry's rotations. And you could see, and look, if we're going to be body language doctors, you could see Steph visibly upset every time he got pulled out when he was having a hot shooting streak. But Kerr just kept doing it. It's like Steph never complained. We don't know what happened behind the scenes. We don't know if Steph went to him and said, I don't like this change, and Kerr overruled him. I've spoken to former NBA players and asked them, is that a conversation that happens? And they said no. Because when you do that, you're no longer playing the role of a player. Now you're encroaching on a coach's territory, if you will. That's their job. That's one of their biggest jobs, is deciding who plays when. I don't doubt Steph has influence, but I also, again, unless I heard it from the horse's mouth, I'm not going to sit here and assume that Steph signed off on JK getting DNPs. I have a hard time stomaching that. But
you got to remember this. I hear what you're saying. But you got to remember this. Steph's unique. He also has a seat at the table. This guy is going to have ownership. I mean, he's going to have ownership of the team. And making him happy is like a thought on everything that they do. Everything that they do, they think about, I wonder if this is going to make Steph happy. And I think that's just reality. I just think that, and I think that's reality for the T-Wolves with Ant and probably, the Rockets with a couple of their players. And, it's not abnormal, but I think it's not crazy to say.
I think
that
every
Steph could have whispered to Steve at some point, hey, look, Kuminga, I love Kuminga, but he has no effing clue what he's doing.
We don't know that, though, Larry. And again, I'm
you're
not
right, dude. We don't know that. I'm giving this.
But you inferring that. But again, you inferring that is a slight to Kuminga, though.
This is what this is.
That's
what this whole thing is, Si. That's what we're doing here. But that's what we're doing here. We're giving our opinions. Your opinion isn't law. My opinion isn't law. Frank's isn't. Danny's isn't. We're giving our opinions. That's what this is.
But I'm not going out of my way to give an opinion to try to make Kerr look better. That's the difference.
I'm not
here.
trying to make him look better either. I'm just saying.
Well, why say that? Why express that? Why believe that?
It's plausible because I think it's plausible. I think it's
real.
I
mean, look at Michael Jordan.
I could see it. I could see it where I've been on teams where I've talked to coaches when I was younger. Say, I can't. Man, this guy's frustrating. I can't play with this guy or something. It could be just something like that. This guy's never in the right place. And it doesn't, he's not, I don't think he's going and saying, you don't play Kuminga or I'm out of here. I don't think it's anything like that. I think he's just voicing like there's a reason he hasn't played when Curry played. Why is he playing now? Because
Kerr is weird with rotations.
No, he's playing because he gives them the best. He gives them the best opportunity to win right now.
Jason Tatum.
He gives them the best.
Jason Tatum.
Yeah, and they won the gold medal.
Defend Kerr.
And they won the gold medal.
Barely, because Stephen Curry led a 17-point comeback, shooting 9 of 14 from 3. Yeah, it's insane.
Name me
how many
one
people
coach
go out of their way to defend this guy. That's my frustration. You guys go out of your way.
You're looking at it the wrong way.
Imaginary scenarios to defend Kerr. That's where I push back.
Why?
Name me a coach. The Bay Area media scene is a laughingstock who bends over for this guy. And I'm the only person that for some reason pushes back because I actually have an independent thought here and sees things for what they are. If you want to bend over and make excuses for Kerr, it's your right. I'm going to sit here and say
making excuses for
there's no excuses. I'm just giving an opinion.
Kuminga, not Steph.
I didn't say he benched him. I'm saying
you guys are sitting here saying that maybe that Steph must have gotten involved. You don't know that. And if
I don't know that, and you don't know.
You don't know that he didn't.
You're right.
Yeah, so we're both saying
the same your opinion.
Yeah,
I'm pushing back on your propaganda.
And I'm pushing back on your side. Listen,
that's fine.
Name me a coach. Name me one coach that benches a guy because he thinks if he benches him, that he'll actually lose.
That's how crazy Steve Kerr is, Dan.
Oh, that's like
my point.
Why is he playing now? Because he thinks he gives him the best chance to win. Any coach is going to play the players he thinks can help him.
I'm not saying it's personal, Dan. I'm saying he's a schmuck when it comes to personnel decisions.
A coach doesn't bench a guy if he says, "Oh, this guy can help me win. I'm going to bench him."
Kerr did. He benched Kuminga. He benched Jason Tatum.
Yes, and did they win?
Are you going to brag about Team USA winning gold? Is that where we're at? You're going to brag about Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant teams? Like, this is why I call what your argument is Kerr propaganda. He takes stacked teams and he underachieves with them, barely wins, and then you act like he achieved something. I don't see it that way, man. I'm sorry. Team USA is supposed to win gold.
Part of coaching 12 great players is keeping them together. And Jason Tatum knew going into the game he probably wasn't going to play.
Jason, no, F that, dude.
Yes,
Dan, how many
Kerr
teams
told
USA
him.
did not win
Kerr
gold?
told him he wasn't. He may not be part of the rotation.
It's obvious that you don't want to accept this as a possibility because you're very invested for lots and lots of shows this year in Steve Kerr.
That's an
But it's not. It doesn't all have to be Steve Kerr. It could be.
It
could be Steph Curry.
No, you're wrong, Larry. I'm not making that assumption. I am strictly pushing back on an opinion that is pro Kerr because we don't know if that's true.
Right, but you're anti-Kerr.
I'm not anti-Kerr.
Yes,
you
are.
To be objective here.
No, you're anti-Kerr
here.
Dude,
one coach made the decision. Bench Kuminga. You guys are saying no. God forbid Kerr made a dumb decision like that. Steph must have been involved, and I'm saying
nobody said that. Nobody said that.
Bullshit until we do.
Nobody said that. But don't sit here and go at a Hall of Fame coach and an Olympic coach and say that you're not anti-Kerr. You are anti-Kerr. That's what anti-Kerr is.
No, just because he's the head coach and I
Kerr
criticize
is one of the best coaches going. Everybody knows that.
Well, then you're pro Kerr, Larry. Fine.
Why would anybody not be pro Kerr? He's done nothing but win championships.
And again, who wouldn't have won a championship with those Steph KD teams?
Pro Kerr makes sense.
It makes sense if you don't think much about the game and what he's doing. If you just look at it on the face, but the moment you look at the nuance, the moment you look at specifics, like, for example, no player in 11 years has developed under him. The last 3 years, they've underachieved. He was playing Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb over Moody and Kuminga. He was giving Corey Joseph minutes over Moody. Moody was starting 2 weeks ago. Now we don't even see him.
You're too close to it. You're too close to it, Cy. You're too close to it. The general manager survey, which I would say is probably a little bit more unbiased than you, says that Steve Kerr is one of the best coaches in the league.
Do you think the vast majority of front offices
are
intelligent?
Last year and the year before?
Do you realize?
And the year before that? And the year before that?
I don't care what the GM survey
Right,
says
so the
because
GM
most of those people
the
are there
GMs
because of
do nothing.
nepotism. You're giving credence to people benefiting from nepotism. That's what most NBA front offices are, man. You just literally rip Lacob because his sons are the GM. Mike Dunleavy Jr.'s dad played in the NBA, and that's what you're relying on for your pro Kerr stance? Come on, man. Like the first championship, I give
Every
Kerr all
GM every GM in basketball is not enough of a sounding board to find out who's good. You don't. So now every
You didn't
GM
say
in
every.
basketball. Yes, we're talking about the GM survey.
I don't have respect for most GMs in the NBA, correct? Because most Nico Mannion. Are you
Okay,
going to
now
sit here
then.
and tell me you trust him?
No, I mean, so what? Because there was a
Rob
bust,
Pelinka?
because
Come on,
somebody
man.
drafted a bust in the second round. Now general
on, man.
managers don't know anything.
I don't just because
Because
GMs
one
have
team
opinions,
drafted a bust. That makes no
Larry,
sense.
I
at
don't
all. That makes no
rely on
sense.
other opinions to form my own. Period.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Who's?
You listen to people all the time. You watch shows. Do you listen to the game with the announcers down? No. You listen to commentary. You
you get the facts?
absolutely listen. Yes, like everybody else. You're listening just like everybody else.
But a GM's
We all
opinion
have
is an opinion.
we all have a reasoning ability to say, this is this guy's opinion. But you're discounting every GM in the league and and you're basically saying that you, Cyrus, with the podcast, knows more than every GM in the NBA. And
But
that
first of all,
sounds crazy.
First of all, I've never seen anything that states every GM in the NBA worship. I don't even know what survey you're talking about. Of
It's
course,
an annual
people are
GM
going to.
survey.
NBA.com.
You're telling me 100% of every GM said that they would hire Kerr? Is that what is it? What?
No,
what-
but I mean, I don't have it in front of me because I don't care that much. But I'm pretty sure he is ranked as one of the NBA's best coaches
It's like
by
third.
the general
And
manager.
I'm saying the
game.
opinions of GMs don't mean shit to me. I can form my own opinions, and that's why I have my own platform, because I got tired of hearing this groupthink from GMs from the media who can't think for themselves. And so this groupthink has come to the conclusion that Steve Kerr is way smarter than he really is, and I'm pushing back on that because I am that close to it. I don't think Kerr's that great, man. I'm sorry. He practically ruined Kuminga's life. We saw what happens when he actually played the kid again. And I don't respect Kerr, man. I don't. I really don't.
Clear.
I don't think Team USA gold is
that's-
an incredible
you don't
accomplishment.
you don't respect Kerr, but
No.
I'm saying that's a little wacky when you look at his accomplishments.
Well, I think it's wacky that you worship him and you're deferential
Worship.
to him.
Why?
I think that's wacky.
He's got the accomplishments, He's got the
I would have those accomplishments. Anybody with that much privilege would have accomplishments on the resume, Larry. Just
what?
because someone
Wait,
handed him a stacked team, Mark
you
Jackson deserves more than him.
Come on,
in terms
dude.
of credit.
Come on.
Because Mark Jackson turned nothing into something. Steve Kerr took something and got championships. Credit for that, but
Mark
he also
Jackson's
blew that
and
73-win team.
He took Mark Jackson's team, and the very next year won 17 more games.
Correct, yeah. He
So, I mean,
took a great team and
it's
made them
not like-
better.
You
Correct.
can't say that Mark Jackson was awesome if Steve sucks, if Steve took Mark's team and won 17 more games.
I'm not saying Steve Kerr sucks, but what I am saying is that it's time for something new because for the last 3
Right.
years, they've
That's fine.
underachieved.
That's fine. But I mean, if you want to say time for something new, but I mean, come on, you have to, if you want to take this super strident, the emperor has no clothes, because that's
Correct.
what it is. You're
I
going
am.
with the emperor has no clothes.
I am.
That's fine. But you're out there on you're deep out there.
The good news is there are enough people who see how logical I am and how insane this media landscape that just bends over for Kerr is that I have an audience, thankfully. There are enough people out there who realize, wow, why does 95% of the NBA and sports media landscape pretend this guy's some genius? I would not have an audience, Larry, if my points were not valid. I'm not sitting here saying that just from my opinion he sucks. I'm looking at it in terms of player development. The only draft pick that's still on this team now doing anything in recent history is Kevon Looney. And who knows how we evaluate him. Every other draft pick, a dud. Moses Moody, who knows?
Jordan Poole was pretty good until Draymond sent him packing.
Well, and under Kerr's watch. I mean, you got to hold him responsible. This is his team. And again, credit to Kerr.
How is
Draymond
that how is that Kerr's fault to punch?
So why does Kerr get credit for the gold medal? Same logic, man. Same logic. He's in charge. If you're going to give him credit for the gold medal, you got to blame him.
They had to trade Jordan Poole. They had to.
And again, he's
He-
no longer
he-
with the team, so you can't credit him for developing a draft pick.
But
'cause
he
that
was
the
developed.
shit.
In his second or third year, he helped them win the championship.
So I see. So you credit him for the good things, and then you make him excuses for the bad things. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I'm just saying you're saying he never developed anybody. I'm saying, and is Steve Kerr, is it his job to go out there and one-on-one and coach every guy?
That's
what
your job.
assistants
Yes.
do. Assistants,
Yes.
you have assistants. I don't know. I'm sure you've been to practices where coaches are working together, but the
I've
assistants
been to
play a
Warriors
huge
practices.
role.
Yes.
Assistants
I've actually
are-
been to Warriors practices, Dan. I've
Yeah.
actually seen how it works. Steve, look, Steve is, again, as a coach, he's fine, but I don't know how you could turn a blind eye to just over and over these young players just withering and wilting under his watch. He does not put time and effort into young players.
Okay, the other
And that's
night you made a
massive
comment
issue, man.
comment about Phil Jackson developed and helped Kobe get better. What about
Kobe was
Kerr
21 when Phil took over. I mean,
yeah, what about Kerr with Curry? Did Curry not win MVPs under Steve Kerr?
I mean,
Two
wasn't-
consecutive?
it was Curry's like 8th year when Kerr
No,
took
it wasn't.
over.
It was like his 5th.
No, he started playing in 2009.
Yeah, and he
Oh,
took
yeah,
over
okay,
in
fine.
15.
5th or 6th. Still, I mean,
6
but
years.
how old was he? 27? 20 or
But he-
28? I mean,
But he
Curry's not a
missed a
baby
couple
when-
years basically with injuries.
Curry
Did
was
Kerr-
not a baby when he took over, when Steve Kerr took over. Phil Jackson never missed the playoffs once. I can't believe you're comparing Phil to Steve Kerr now.
I'm
man.
not. I'm just saying you gave.
Why did you bring him up?
You gave Phil Jackson credit for developing Kobe. Then you have to do the same. You say that Kerr never developed
No.
anybody. Did Curry not get better under? And I'm not even saying it's Kerr. I'm saying Steph puts in the time and developed himself. I think Kobe did the same. But you can't say that Steve Kerr, who played a guard in the league for I don't know how many years, over
A
10
role player.
plus years.
Yeah.
But he had to help Steph understand parts of the game.
Great.
I mean-
Okay, fine. Let's say you're right, Dan. 11 years ago, congrats. You did a marvelous job with Steph. What have you done for me lately, man? Let's look at the last 6 years. 6 years, Dan. I don't know how old you were 6 years ago. Something tells me that was a long ass time ago, though. I was still in my 30s 6 years ago, I think. Dude, that was a long time ago. And we're talking about the last 6 years. That's the microscope I'm looking at for Steve Kerr. And they won the championship in 2022. Even if you give them credit for that, great. There are other coaches who have won one championship in the last 6 years who've gone fired since then. Mike Malone, Frank Vogel, Mike Budenholzer. But Steve Kerr, because of those first 5 years, gets this endless grace. And all I'm saying is those first 5 years, the first championship, I still bow down to him. It was awesome, but it hasn't been awesome for a long time. And the way he's treated these young players is egregious.
So who do you want?
Brent Berry or Mike Brown?
Yeah, I mean, so you're talking about a guy who's fired and a guy who's not even coaching.
So Mike Brown, you don't think is a good choice then?
Well, I mean, he just got fired by the Sacramento Kings.
Steve Kerr got fired by the Suns. I mean, so is that makes him?
So Mike Brown is suddenly a better coach than Steve Kerr. He was here before.
Well, again, this is where the nuance matters, dude. Yes, you're right. The last time he was here, they won a championship. And if you actually cover this team behind the scenes, Mike Brown, his loss was he was irreplaceable borderline. He was the type of guy who slept on his couch at work, man. The players loved him. I would go with Mike Brown. Because again, where's the accountability for Steve Kerr, man? Like, why is this? I'm just tired of the deference. I'm just tired of, well, he won 4 championships, so for the rest of his life, he could just be a fuck up, and we're just going to sit here and just say, no problem. I don't like that. I'm sorry.
Let me say this. This is the reason why I don't have a lot of subs, I guess, because I'm not emotional about the stuff that I talk about. And I'm a Knick fan. I'm a big time Warrior fan, but I'm not emotional about it, right? I like it when everybody has different opinions because it's all theory. There are really no facts. So if someone says something that I don't agree with, I don't tell you that you're wrong. I just listen to it. I go, well, I might agree with it, or I might not. Apparently, the listeners apparently like this because the super chats and all this other shit is just going up. It's amazing to me. But let me say this. There's no perfect coaches. Steve Kerr, by the record, is an excellent coach, right? There is what takes place on the basketball court. There is the management of players. I would suggest that there are more coaches who've gotten fired because of the off-court stuff than on-court. So Kerr gets a grade A there. Give him credit for that.
No pushback. Correct.
Okay. Now, Kerr is stubborn. He was the underdog guy who made it, right? He's played for Phil Jackson. He's played for Luke
What do you call him that?
Olson.
What do you call him an underdog? I don't understand that part of it.
Not
Okay.
that talented. He wasn't super talented.
Because when he played in college, he was 6 foot, 155 pounds. Those guys don't make the NBA. All right. The reason why he was in the NBA is because he shot 50% from 3-point range.
Right. Incredible shooter. Yeah.
He's an all-time leader in 3-point shooting percentage.
Amazing shooter. Correct.
So he and that's probably some things in his background, and I'm not going to delve into, but his upbringing and how things are aligned and how you have the leader and you got guys got to be in line.
He was 6'3", by the way, just to make it clear. He wasn't 6 feet. That is a huge difference, Frank. But
okay, all right. Well, all right. He's 6'3", 155 pounds. My point is he has a structural sense of how order is supposed to be. That's pretty clear to me watching that. And that's not what our society is totally about at this point. So he has these contrasts in dealing with players. He has failed the Jonathan Kuminga thing. He really is. Now, when I evaluate him as a coach, he's not a developer of talent. That's okay. A lot of guys don't develop talent. I'd rather have really talented assistants that are good at something that I can give them the credit for that. The Warriors have not done a good job developing talent. You're absolutely right. But I mean, you know what? The only lens I look through is here's a young man who was drafted, who had aspirations to be a professional player. He's in a system that he's not getting a fair chance. Trade him, right? Trade him. Don't keep him around for 4 years. That's not all on Kerr. He's not the general manager. He's not the owner. He's the coach. But he is the guy who can put him in, and he decides not to. And he compared him to Guy Santos. I'm like, come on, man. You can't do that. So, I mean, I don't get emotional about this stuff. But the Jonathan Kuminga thing, and Kerr knows he has egg on his face. Everybody saw it tonight. And hopefully Kuminga's going to go. I don't want the Warriors to resign him. I don't, because I don't think they're ever going to be as close as they could have been. Then I've heard you kind of intimate that maybe, Kuminga's not playing for a reason. He doesn't do all this stuff. I don't know if that's true. And I just go, no, the best players have to play. The best players have to play. Forget about the system. The best players must play. The only reason why a player doesn't play if he's not hustling. He's being selfish and he's not hustling. Kuminga hustles, right? His learning modality is different from a lot of players because he didn't grow up in America. He didn't go to college. So his learning process is different. But when he plays 30 minutes a game, he averages 20 points.
21.
That's data. I can't put a guy on the bench who produces that number for minutes played. So all I gotta say
I agree with that, Frank. I do agree with your assessment that data is important, but as we're not privy to the game film and breaking down clips, what the Warriors are trying to do.
Why does that matter, though? Why does that matter, Dan?
And we are privy to that, Dan. We are privy to that. I don't know
well,
why you say
maybe not to the extent that the Warriors break it down. The coaches go down, they look at everything. There's a reason that they were not playing Kuminga. And I don't know what that reason is.
Same reason Tatum didn't play, man.
Let me ask you a question.
Let me finish, because I do think there have been times where Kuminga has these lapses. And I do know from listening to a lot of podcasts that I've listened to from former NBA players, a lot of NBA veterans don't like playing with guys that play out of control because they get injured by guys that are just like, you saw the play when Jimmy Butler went flying and he got hurt. That was because of Amen Thompson is just one of those guys that's reckless. and Kuminga can tend to be reckless. And
That's a
veteran
reach.
players
That's a reach,
do
man. That's a
do
reach.
not.
Come on.
It is not. I'm telling
It
you,
is.
veteran players do not like guys that play out of control
So,
because they don't want to
Eamon
get
Thompson's
injured.
not going to play anymore because he's out. Come on, man.
No,
That's a reach.
I'm just saying, veteran player.
I'm gonna call
Houston's
that a
got a
reach.
bunch of young guys.
He is a veteran, Dan.
Who?
He's a veteran.
He's in
Kuminga.
your fourth. He's in your
Yeah, he's
fourth.
4 years, but he
He's
still
a-
plays out of control at times.
That's a reach.
Right, but you made 2 points. You said veteran players. He is a veteran player. He is.
Well, he's a veteran in 4 years, but he plays like a rookie at times. How did you see the game Christmas
That's a
Day?
different conversation. That's a
You
different
see the game
distinction,
Christmas
Dan.
Day at the end of the game, the guy on the Lakers goes out of bounds and Kuminga follows him with his back to the ball, and then the Lakers, I think it was Reed, goes and lays it up because there's no backside help because Jonathan Kuminga's got his back to the ball. I learned in fourth grade that you never.
All right. So
take
again,
your eye-
I
mean,
Dan,
that's the kind of basketball why he doesn't play all
Okay,
the
that's
time.
one possession. Again, that to me, I criticize quote unquote analysis like that because there are 200 possessions in an average NBA game.
But yeah, but
And
he
you nitpick
obviously has
one
done that.
possession that stats don't reinforce. That's your opinion. That's more
Just
Kuminga hate. And
Watch him
I'm
on
going to say,
defense at times. Watch him on defense. He
I
loses.
do
his
watch him
guy.
on defense, Dan. That's
He plays
insulting.
great
Now you're
one-on-one.
insinuating I don't fucking watch. I watch all
plays-
this shit.
He
gotta
plays great
teach me.
one-on-one
Dan,
defense.
let's
Larry,
move on.
At times,
Larry, you
gets-
guys are teaching me. This is how you make money in podcasting.
You know,
That's how the money's made.
I think if you're authentic, that's half the battle. And I think if you have a brain, that's probably most of the rest of the battle, if you want to make it in this game. But yeah, strong opinions are clearly what people want. Going back to this game, Christian 499 saying, I swear every time we get a lead over 5 points, the refs, going back to the officiating tonight, start calling fouls to get Minnesota back in front. Again, Scott Foster was embarrassing to me. Dan, you didn't talk about the officiating tonight. Did you? Maybe you did. I don't know. But I thought officiating was egregious. This was embarrassing. Scott Foster should be ashamed of himself for a stimulus package that he handed Minnesota by fouling Draymond Green out and Kevon Looney later in the game. But the Draymond Green part of it was embarrassing. You're calling fouls on challenges. That is what happened to Draymond Green tonight that led to him being fouled out. Embarrassing. What were your thoughts on that?
Both teams were 17 for 21. I think when people blame the officials for I don't ever like to blame the officials unless it's egregious, and I don't think it was egregious.
Where did Larry go? Did he just bail?
He might have lost.
All right, well, we'll continue on. Show goes on. Hopefully he's okay. Michael dropping $5 saying the Draymond bullet passes, like he's throwing it to Will Chamberlain, have caused reckless turnovers. Should have went back to Trace Jackson Davis to close the four. What happened to Trace Jackson Davis, by the way? Trace Jackson Davis tonight started, which is kind of crazy, but I liked it. He played 11 minutes and 5 seconds, 7 points, 2 boards. He was 3 of 4 from the field. What happened there, Frank? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think he didn't play because you can only play 5 guys. And I think once Jonathan Kuminga started going offensively, that took one less player off the court. You're not going to take Draymond and Jimmy Buckets off. So that's your front court. And you got Podge had to be there to run the offense. They wanted Buddy Hield on the court. So just not enough spots. That's all.
That's crazy. Dan, did you agree with the minute usage?
I think Davis, he plays pretty well in there when he's in there. I think in this series, this series is, he's built more for it. I did agree not playing post. He played 3 minutes. Moody only got 3 minutes. He was a -7, I believe, in his 3 minutes. And that plus minus thing, it's not like one guy is the reason, it's not like, oh, he gave up all 7 negative points against him and that was it. No, I do think Moody's hasn't played well over the course of the playoffs. But, what's interesting is they were like 18-2 when Moody started, and then he just kind of lost his role. Moody seems to be a guy that gets going when he gets into the flow of the game early, and he knows he's not going to be yanked. I don't know. but he's also been unplayable in these playoffs.
I mean, I don't know what to make of the Trayce Jackson-Davis minutes. Frank, do you have an opinion on that or no? I mean,
yeah, I think he played reasonably well in the minutes that he played. I mean, these are high-stakes games, and it's hard coaching because Minnesota is the better team minus Stephen Curry. I mean, Trayce Jackson-Davis doesn't have a deep offensive package, and it comes down to trust a little bit. There were times in which Steve Kerr lost trust in Trayce Jackson-Davis, and what I like about Trayce is he's responded relatively well by not sulking. He's been mature. He's come out and he's played okay. So maybe he'll get some more time as opposed to Looney next game, but he trusts Looney. So I don't have a horrible time with Trayce Jackson-Davis not playing more minutes. I don't. I think the guys who played tonight put the Warriors in a position to win the game. They lost by 5, and the game got away from them. And it was the best players on the team that played a bigger role in the game getting away from them as opposed to the others tonight. So I don't have a major problem with Trayce not playing tonight.
well, we lost Larry Krueger, but we got Ryan Leong joining us live from Chase Center. And Larry, I hope you're okay out there. You know, not the type to bounce out like that. But Ryan, good to see you. That was an incredibly disappointing game. We just had a lively debate about Steve Kerr and his handling or mishandling, or however you want to label it, of the young players. It was a topic that came up largely because Jonathan Kuminga, who had been DNP'd for inexplicable reasons for a number of games, got minutes tonight, and he delivered 30 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Jimmy Butler as well had a good game. You can maybe argue Buddy Hield had a decent game, shooting 50% from 3, but he also only had 14 points. Good to see you, Ryan. And what was your reaction to this game?
Yeah, it was good. Overall, even though, it's interesting, Kuminga had 30 points, right? So he's the second leading scorer. But his 2 turnovers, man, they were really bad turnovers. However, I'm not going to blame him too much because, like you, I agree. When you don't play a guy, and all of a sudden you're like, it'd be like having a sports car, and all of a sudden you put the sports car in the garage, and then all of a sudden you take it out and say, here, run a quarter mile and see how fast the car can go. It's going to be rusty, right? It's not going to be as good as you want the performance to be because you're not running the car. And then also the player, I mean, obviously Kuminga's a player. He's not a machine. But the point I'm getting at, obviously, is he's not playing with confidence because he's not playing enough. And then when he does play, I mean, I think that's an awesome production. How many other coaches do you know of that are going to DNP a guy like that? And then all of a sudden when he does get playing time, he scores 30 points. I don't know any coach that could do that. So
here's the part that where it gets personal for me with this whole Kuminga thing. And I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, or if you empathize with me or not on this. If you've ever been screwed over by someone in a position of power, if you've ever been screwed over by someone who has authority, who actually has the power to make or break your life, and you've been screwed over in that process and not given specific reasoning for it, meaning, hey, you're not getting the promotion because I feel you're not ready. And when you go, can you specify? I just don't feel it. I don't think it's right. Or you've ever been in a classroom and you had a teacher give you a bad grade and you go to the professor or the teacher and go, why did I get a C on this? This was an A paper. I just didn't think it met the standards that I expected. Can you be more specific? It's just a gut thing. That doesn't sit well with me, man. And I've been screwed over in life because of decisions like that. I hate it. And I do think there's a shift in terms of reality that we're living in where you see institutions falling left and right, and you see a lot more entrepreneurship with opportunities for individuals to rise themselves and circumvent the hierarchies that oftentimes keep people down. I see the way Kerr treats Kuminga, and I think it's shitty, man. I just think it's wrong and not getting specific reasons to get an explanation for that and numerous other decisions. It's wild. You're making $18 million a year as the head coach of a basketball team. And with this power, instead of, as Frank said, I think it is that simple. You play the best players. That's it. And Kerr doesn't do that all the time. And it drives me insane. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to say this. It reminds me a lot of Don Nelson. It really does. Well, Don Nelson was a little more of an enigma, but it's very similar, though. I mean, I wasn't there as a media member at the time, but obviously, as you guys remember, Chris Webber's feud with Don Nelson. Even though Weber was great, he was the rookie of the year. He should have played a lot more years on the Warriors than he did. I mean, he ends up going to the Hall of Fame anyways, as we know, but mostly as a Sacramento Kings player. But it's really frustrating that he just didn't, see his potential. And I think Kerr is doing something similar here. He's being very Don Nelson-ish with how he's handling Kuminga, and it's really wrecking a guy's confidence. And you're right, he's got Kuminga by the gonads. He really does. And he just squeezes and lets go when he feels like it. It's frustrating. I'm sure he's incredibly frustrated as a player, just not being able to get out there and do more, even though he and Butler play the same position. Yeah, so what? I mean, I just think there's ways where you can you like Frankie said it. You got to play the best players, and it's not happening. I don't get it. It is very frustrating. And I think what lets Kerr skate by is the fact that he's this coach that keeps getting the team to the next level, even though I agree with what you said, Cy, that he's barely doing it. He's got a stacked roster, and yet he's barely getting the wins that he, I think he could be doing so much better overall.
Anybody else have thoughts on that, or no? Or do you think do you respect the traditional hierarchies in life? And if someone in power just says tough shit, you just have to stomach it. Frank,
let me say this, I wish you had made that point a lot earlier and maybe talked about it a lot more, because
I made it on my program. When it's just me. I have.
The reason why I say that is because there are probably hundreds of people listening, if not thousands, who feel exactly the way that you do, because the world is not fair. And we do get screwed. I mean, I've been screwed a ton of times in my life. Now, as an individual, though, we get to make certain decisions and we get to define success for us, right? And that's not a consolation prize. That is real, because to quote, make it up to that hierarchy to get this job or that job, most of the time it involves kissing somebody's ass.
Yeah.
All right. You know what I'm saying? And I've made a decision my whole life to know what I'm going to do. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be exemplary in terms of my character and do the best job that I can do. And that better be enough for me to ascend. And if it doesn't, then that's fine. Because I'm not basing my success on what job I have or how much money I make or so on and so forth. Why? Because it's debilitating to me. And I can't live my life being sad or being upset because maybe there's somebody in a more prominent position than I'm in that I'm probably better than. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? But it's not okay to everybody. But this is just my mentality. And I wanted to raise that because I think you're making a very interesting point. And I just wish that you had magnified it earlier, because I understand why it's personal now, because of how you feel about that. So I appreciate that.
No, thanks. I mean, look, and if you've never experienced that, you lack that perspective. I guess it is that simple. But for those of us who have not had a easy life where everything's just handed to us, I'm guessing that resonates. I don't know, Dan, does that resonate with you or no? Or have you had an easy life and you've never
no, I mean, I think I've been in sales my whole life. I've had to fight for every dollar I've ever made. I've never had any salary gifted to me. I've had to.
Is it a fair statement to say, Dan, that the hardest thing to do in this world is to get someone else to give you their money?
Oh yeah, exactly. Very hard. It's like I mean,
it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy. No.
And that's where I guess the emotional side of this, never mind the fact that I love the Warriors. And I think it's just insane that Kuminga is not playing, not because he's not good, but because he doesn't fit. And we saw tonight again.
And by the way, let me just say this before, so I don't say something that offends anybody. I'm not saying if you have a salary that you haven't you've been gifted something. You had to work hard to get that job to get the salary. So people who work for a salary, I'm not saying, hey, you got it made. No, I mean, people earn their jobs for the most part, I would think. Yeah.
We got a lot of paid chats. Let's just plow through these and we'll call it a night after that. And Larry, wherever you are, I hope you're okay. Larry and I go back 25 years. He's not the type to get upset about on-air, discussions and engagements. And I really hope that's not why he bounced. If it is, and we'll have a conversation later. Sasha Jones dropping $4.99 saying Kerr's got to give some of Pods' minutes up. Podziemski, again, did not have a good night tonight. See if other players can give you more offensively. Love the little things he does. Not enough to justify his minutes. Ryan, and guys, jump in at any point if you have any opinions on this. And by the way, Ryan Leong, people can follow you on Twitter at Ryan Leong. Anything else you want to promote real fast? You good? Okay. Ryan 3000, 499, saying Draymond Green lost them this game. It forced Jimmy the ball at the end when Kuminga was hot. He didn't touch the ball until the end. Draymond had 2 points and 5 turnovers. Yeah, we talked about Draymond
and two rebounds.
And yeah, that was not good. That's not good. MSQ dropping 499, saying this Warriors team without Steph is basically the Heat when Jimmy was on their team, if not a better version of those Heat teams with Jimmy. Thoughts? Look, any team when you take Steph out of the equation just takes a massive drop. I still think this team has hope. Like, are you guys ruling them out? Is this series over, Frank?
No, I don't think so.
Ryan?
The series is over. They don't win on Monday.
Right.
Yes,
Agree.
yes, that's true.
Agree.
Yeah.
What happens? We'll get to that in a second. MSQ. Oh, we already read that. That guy dropping a buck just to say what's up, I guess. Wainster dropping $5.99, saying, "Hey, Cy, in my Humboldt opinion, playoff words, Kuminga, Jimmy, Dre, and Trace Jackson Davis should start Game 4. Where's the other starter? Not Podziemski. Nice hustle, Buddy Hield. GP2 UG for the second half." Who should start next game? Frank, I'll start with you.
I think Pod should start. I mean, he's the only point guard-esque backcourt play that they have. I would start the guys. Maybe I would start the same team they started tonight. I would start Trace Jackson Davis. I would start Draymond. I would start Jimmy, Pods, and whom else started? Buddy started tonight.
He did start, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the starting lineup. I don't. And then bring Kuminga off of the bench 3-4 minutes into the game to see how he's going.
Ryan, what do you think? If we still have you.
I think he's a little frozen.
Yeah,
he's a little frozen. Dan, who's starting in Game 4? What do you think, man?
Well, I'm going to do something a little unconventional.
Okay.
I'm going to start Jimmy and Kuminga, and I'm going to go Buddy, Pods, and I'm going to go with Trace Jackson Davis. I'm going to bring Draymond off the bench as a spark, as the sixth man. Get him to think about watching the game, the flow of the game, so that when he comes in, he's focused and ready to just play basketball and kind of do a little, how you switched Andre Iguodala into the starting lineup against Cleveland in the 2015 season. I can't even remember who went to the bench now, and that's been so long ago, who Iguodala started for. But I would like to see Draymond. I don't want Draymond starting a game that they have to win where he gets over emotional and gets a quick tee or something and just the momentum killer. Let him come off the bench as a spark plug. I think I've seen Draymond do it before as a sixth man, and he's really been good at it. So just as a change, you're not talking like he's not going to finish or anything like that. Just the start of the game, 4 or 5 minutes on the bench and bring him in.
I don't know if this is an opinion you guys will agree with or not, but two players who I think will need to play and they're going to need to contribute. And I don't know if the Warriors have a shot this series if they don't. One is Moses Moody, who I don't know what happened to his shot. I can't remember off memory if Moses Moody was benched first or if his three-point shot went first or if it just happened at the same time. I asked that question because part of me wonders, did his three-point shot fail him when he started getting phased out of the rotation again, right? I mean, this goes back to the whole herky-jerky treatment with players and whether or not it works or does not work. And, Moses Moody is needed. This team needs shooting, and he's one of the very few shooters on this team. And that leads to the other player, Quentin Post, who did start tonight, but he was phased out quick. Kerr has not been able to find a good role for him yet this series. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Frank, I'll start with you. Do you think Moody and Post are needed? Am I talking crazy? What do you think?
I think both are needed, but I think this is big boy basketball. This is the NBA playoffs. with an opportunity to go to the Western Conference Finals. Every minute, every second that you're on the court, you have to produce. And if Post visualizes himself strictly as an offensive player, then he'll never have a career at this level. A coach told me once, you play by which the level that you can defend, okay? And until Quentin Post is able to defend his position, he's going to have inconsistent minutes unless he comes out and he's making shots right away. So I root for him, but he has to play better defense. Moody, listen, Moody got to make shots. You can't stay on the court if you're not making shots. So I root for both of those guys, but they got to make shots. Otherwise, they won't play.
Nato Santos saying Quentin Post to emo. Ryan, how was the Timberwolves locker room after the game? One of your jobs, you go into the visiting locker room to interview the players. I'm guessing Minnesota's bubbling right now. Is confidence sky high?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's just like it was with Houston when Houston was doing well in their games. I only spoke to one guy in their locker room, spoke to Jaden McDaniels. Everybody else was in the interview room. But the time that I was in there, yeah, they were having a good time. They were just like not as confident as Houston was, not yucking it up quite as much as I mentioned to you in a previous post, but definitely happy, definitely feeling the momentum in their favor. But I will say this: I agree with what you said. Getting back to your point, I am shocked that Moody only played. I mean, how much can you really accomplish in 3 minutes? But he was a -7 in those 3 minutes, so maybe Kerr saw that and said that's enough. You're not getting any more minutes than that. And then Post, yeah, he's a -6, almost the same thing, right? And he was a -6 in 2.5 minutes. So, I mean, the Warriors, those guys are young and they can be productive. But like Frank said, your minutes have to count. But yeah, Pods obviously had a crap of a game, that's for sure. But yeah, I think they're gonna have to, like, on Monday, it's gonna have to be like, even though it's not the must-win game, I think you gotta take it as an all hands on deck, man. You gotta figure out a way to get that done. Because tonight, they were still pretty close and they couldn't quite pull it off, right? They lose by 5 points. I just think they let this one get away.
Stanley Warren dropping $5 saying Jimmy Butler and Jonathan Kuminga can't play together, yet they both scored 30 with no spacing on the court with them. Kerr is a joke. If only Kuminga got the leash, Pods does. And that, again, that double standard has been a grievance with a lot of people. Dan, I feel like you're Kerr's biggest defender left on this panel. What are your thoughts on that, on the double standard, the unequal treatment, if you will, of Podziemski and Kuminga, where Podziemski can do no wrong. Kuminga, on the other hand, one turnover, he gets a leash sometimes.
Yeah, I think it comes down to a trust factor with Kerr, and at times there's probably a shorter leash for Kuminga because he doesn't do certain things that Kerr values is what Pods does. Pods plays, even if he's not having a good game, he's still contributing defensively. He's really working hard. I go back to game 2 when Kuminga got out hustled, just grabbing a rebound. He just kind of jogged for it, got knocked out by DiVincenzo. It's those little things. I think Kerr believes in Kuminga. He obviously sees the incredible talent. I think he's really trying to get Kuminga to just play more under control. I think Kuminga had a great game tonight. I think Kerr realizes he can't beat Minnesota with Curry on the bench and Kuminga not being out there. So I think Kuminga is, he's really the second guy behind Jimmy that they're going to have to rely on, especially if Buddy's not hitting his shots. You need at least 3 guys out there that can space and otherwise their offense is non-existent. So, but I always go back to this, and maybe it's because I grew up around being my brothers both being coaches, college coaches, and that every coach plays the guys that he thinks is going to help him win. And I think in the past he felt like Kuminga was not the best option for him. In this series, he has to play him with Curry out. And I think Monday, the one thing I want to see the Warriors play with is a desperation. The only game I've seen them play in the playoffs, to me, that had they played like they were playing with aggression and desperation was game 1 against Houston and game 7 against Houston. And the rest of the time, they just kind of lackadaisical. Game 1 against Minnesota, they played really good, but they were also hitting the shots, and Minnesota was missing everything. And a lot of that did have to do with they were playing really good defense. But the Warriors don't play at a level that they need to play at in every game. And if they don't play at the level that they played game 7 against Houston, they're going to lose Monday.
Agreed. Strongly agree with that. We're getting through them. We're getting there. There's a lot of pay chats tonight.
I want to make one quick point.
Yeah, go ahead, Pete. Sorry, yeah.
From what's your? I'm sorry, I forget your name, by the way.
Dan.
Dan. I just don't think I agree with what you're saying, Dan. I think it would be good if Draymond did come off the bench, but just knowing Kerr, he's going to start.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But I think it's good strategy. I just want to say that.
Yeah, thanks.
Bill M dropping $2, saying, guys, take a look at this one individual's post. He should ban him. I did see that, Bill M. It was a very racist post. Unfortunately, that individual is on Larry's side of things, so I have no control over banning that individual. But yeah, I saw that as well. And Larry, unfortunately, is not here to deal with that. Julian Bashir. I did call Krueger out, and you saw what happened. He's gone. Hopefully he's okay. HR dropping $2, saying Amar couldn't be more wrong about Kuminga. I'm guessing you're referring to that Amar Singh guy that loves Steve Kerr, and something tells me all the Kuminga haters are just have an extra level of bitterness tonight. HR, another $2, saying Kuminga may not fit with Curry, but he can ball. Yeah. MSQ, $1.99, saying it's not Kerr's fault. He put himself in a successful position. That's fair, but he could also, play the best players. It's just simple. Charles Quinn, $1.99, just a super sticker. Thank you. That guy, $5, saying Kerr's a Hall of Fame coach, like he was a Hall of Fame point guard playing next to Jordan. Situational greatness, my point exactly. Anyone want to push back on that?
Well, he has had a pretty charmed career playing for San Antonio and Chicago, and then being coached by a lot of people. But, you talked a lot about hard life, I know you're aware of his father's situation, being assassinated and all that, and then he did have that horrible spinal situation. I think Kerr's been through a lot. And, I think the fact that he's won championships and he's respected around the league is because, guys like him, they make their own breaks too. Guys that, he hasn't just like everything's fallen into place because he's just been lucky. There's a lot of things.
Let me ask this. What did he do to get hired as the head coach of the Warriors? He was going to get hired as the Knicks head coach.
Right.
Phil Jackson was the president. What did he do? He had no coaching experience before that. What did he do that in your eyes made him so worthy of being a head coach?
Well, I think he's a good leader of men. I think he's really good at, personalities, getting guys to play like Larry was saying. He gets guys to, keeping things together, that things don't fracture. Even, he's had to deal with one of the most difficult players and personalities his whole career with Draymond. And I wanted to get to this. I wanted to ask this question. If the Warriors, let's say they don't win another game in this series, they lose Monday. And if they lose Monday, they won't win another game in this series. It'll go down as a 4-1. Will the Warriors, I believe, will make off-season changes. I don't know what those will be, but I think there could be something drastic. And whether that's a big trade for somebody like, Giannis or, trying to make a move in that direction, or do they break away from Draymond after this? Do they have had enough of, where it's just, he's on the edge again. What happens if the Warriors get this thing to 7 and Draymond's suspended for game 7 because he does something in game 4, 5, and 6? He gets a T in 2 of the 3 games, and he's not available for game 7. I mean, this is the kind of thing, and it doesn't have to be, we've seen with Draymond, it doesn't have to be him losing his cool. It could be his flailing and he hits somebody in the head again. He's proven that he can't control
you saw what
that.
he did. You saw what he did back in the 20. You saw what happened in the 2016 finals.
Right.
So he did it once before. Also, I'll say this point too. Kerr has been a good coach, but you guys remember when they got up to that great start and Kerr was locked up with his back and Luke Walton got all those wins.
Luke Walton, 24-0.
Yeah, and he had to vacate all those wins because he was the interim coach. And I tell you, those Warrior teams, I remember watching those games. That Warrior team was on automatic. I mean, they were just like routinely, like just running teams off the floor. But I've seen a changing of how Kerr kind of goes about things now, and I do see, without really seeing it, just seeing what we see on the court, and then when he talks to the media, that he has kind of taken he's kind of a stubborn coach, I would almost say.
Yeah.
That's kind of the best way I describe him.
A lot of people have said that.
I'd agree with that.
Stubborn coach.
HR and Frank, please jump in at any point, man. I hope you're not staying, reserved for any reason other than you just have nothing to say. HR $2 saying plenty of non-Curry minutes next season. Re-sign Kuminga. Again, we'll touch on that this offseason. I'm personally not at a space to start going there. It's a little morbid and it's a dark reality. Coast to Coast 999 saying Krueger said Kerr kept the team together is right. How did we get to these situations? Because Kerr let them happen. He couldn't coach Wiseman, Moody, picking Dre over Poole. Kuminga is mostly out because of him. Sasha Jones 999 saying Kuminga subbed in for Jimmy Butler. Probably fourth player to tonight. Yeah, so Kuminga was, I think the rotational order tonight was Gary Payton II was the 6th man, if I remember correctly. And then I think Kuminga came in right after that, I think. Adding Steve Kerr got the sense to play him, Buddy Hield and Jimmy Butler at the same time. Steve Kerr is telling Steph GP2 or Kuminga, and Steph picks GP2. I try to make sense of that. Anyone want to add anything to that? MSQ, $1.99, saying, when I feel like I'm losing an argument, yell really loud. That was probably a jab at me. Kova, $5, saying, please don't crash out over Kuminga. Curry didn't want Kuminga on the floor. It's obvious at this point. Agree to disagree. I have no clue what Stephen Curry's feeling about all this. That guy, $5, saying, if not seriously competing by sitting Kuminga makes Steph happy, means you coach and tell Steph we're going to play Kuminga. Agreed. That I wholeheartedly agree with. And again, folks, jump in, please, at any point if you have opinions. 6 minute abs, $5, saying, can we get a cholesterol and blood pressure check on me? It's Kerr's responsibility to make everything work. I'm only 29% right. I'll take it. Tough loss. Mark Graves, $2, saying, move on. Heard this already. The chat's tired of it. That guy, $5, saying, Kerr benched Kuminga against the Lakers for Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb. And we got smoked. That wasn't Steph. That was Kerr. That series, actually, Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb did not play. Or did they? I think Lamb actually got a guaranteed deal on that. Anyways, you're $4.99. Jason Lewis saying Mike Shanahan and Steve Kerr are the same, except one can win with the stacked team. Also, Steph won the gold, not Stephen Curry. HR $2. Steve Kerr is Luke Walton, who never left the Dubs. IO Soul $4.99 saying most of the chat's agreeing with me. Thank you. I do not feel like that. And I will smooth things over with Larry if he's upset. I have no idea. He's not the type who would get upset. But that guy, $5, saying at the end of the day, Kerr decides who plays and who doesn't. So the spin that it's on Steph is just a weird stretch, even to be a Kerr fan. That's wild. That was my point. Yeah. 95001 Forrest, $20, saying if Steve Kerr was such a good coach, why hasn't he developed any of the team's draft picks? I've made that point as well. All of the draft picks aren't busts. A sign of a good coach is developing young players. They developed Poole, then traded him. That was my point exactly. Bay Area, $5, saying Pat Riley coached 30 years in the NBA. How many titles did he win without Magic, Kareem, and Worthy? Only one with Shaq and Wade. You can't win without elite talent. Yeah, no one said otherwise. That guy, $5, saying Kerr didn't develop Poole. He was sent to the G League and developed there. And then Steve Nash was brought in to develop Curry, not Kerr. Ooh, that's a wild card. I haven't heard that one before. In case people forgot, Steve Nash was brought in as what was he, like a player consultant? I can't remember his exact role or what years that was. Anybody remember that?
Yeah, he was like a development guy, though. He was kind of a consultant, but he worked one-on-one with guys in practice, particularly.
What years was that? Do you remember?
Probably during the Kevin Durant time here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's probably how they developed a relationship, which made Nash the head coach of the Nets. Derek Simmons, I haven't seen you in a while, friend. Dropping $19.99. Derek Simmons, IFBB Pro, saying we lost this game because Kerr refused to play Trace Jackson Davis for significant minutes. Trace Jackson Davis dominates for the start of this game, then Kerr takes him out. What coach takes out a player that's dominating in a must-win game? Was Trace Jackson Davis dominating? I know I asked you guys this a little while ago. Frank, I think you made it clear that he was doing okay, right? Any follow-up to this?
Yeah, no, he wasn't dominating. He was playing pretty good. He shot 50% from the free throw line. I like him. And hopefully next year, either with the Warriors or somebody else, he's going to get an opportunity to play. But again, these games are based off a few possessions. We can't coach a team for Kerr. Give him the ability to coach the team. He's he's an excellent coach. Yeah. One of the best coaches in the NBA. So I don't really compartmentalize his decisions about coaching. Our big argument was about the 4-year reign of Jonathan Kuminga.
Yes.
That is clearly mismanaged. But let him coach the team. He did a good job. He lost by 5 points. They damn near won. So,
and if you're into fitness, Derek Simmons, IFBB Pro, has a YouTube channel. Go subscribe. He's a good dude. Derek, you are missed. Come back on the show soon. MSQ 199 saying Phil and Kerr both inherited championship-ready teams. Yeah. 60-minute abs, $2, saying Podziemski, Moody, and Curry are missing, and that equals an L. So Podziemski was missing, not literally, but his shot was gone. And then Moody pretty much didn't play. Do you guys think Moody should play more in game 4? I know I asked this earlier, but just rehash. Sorry.
I think he's hit more opportunities.
Absolutely should. But it's so weird how the Warriors. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there, Frank. But it is so strange how certain guys are getting minutes. Kevon Looney's emerged out of nowhere, right? He was rotting on the bench too for a time.
Right.
I tell you, I find that the most frustrating part about these Warriors is that, other than the guys that that Kerr's going to play for sure, the other guys, it's almost like Russian roulette. Hey, let's spin the chamber. Who are we gonna, who am I gonna put in there today? Type of thing. I was not pointing his head. You know what I mean? But it is kind of like that, right?
Yeah, that guy dropping. Yes, yeah, you're right. Yes, that guy dropping $5, saying, "Who's BH? Who's BH?
Buddy Hield.
Sorry. Buddy Hield was part of a triple team against Steph, and nobody questions his IQ as a 10-year vet. Was there a play where he accidentally defended Steph? Or is there another? What's the meaning behind this? I actually don't follow. I'm sorry. Anyone else know?
People question Buddy Hield's IQ. Well, I can talk for myself. He does things that are just inexplicable, and I'm always acknowledging it. But to his credit, you know what? I'm a Buddy Hield fan based on how he's played in the playoffs. The guy's really stepped up, man.
Dude, Game 7, Buddy will forever be in Warriors lore.
He's awesome right now. But, let's see this for 82 games. He should be making, JV-level mistakes like he does sometimes. But give him credit. This is the first organization that he's been in that's had really, really high standards and given him the opportunity to play high-leverage minutes. And I guess, when some people don't produce, Buddy Hield has produced, man. He's played his ass off. He really has.
Yeah. He wasn't the problem tonight. I thought he played actually.
Yeah, I think the Warriors, the way, you have to play it so differently without Steph, but I really think when you talk about Moody, Guy Santos, guys that can really just go hustle, give you minutes, whether it's 8, 10, 12 minutes. I think the Warriors' best opportunity is to try to wear the them down. You remember the 22 season, they just wore Jokic out in the playoffs. They just wore him out, and he was just nothing in the fourth quarter. You'd think Minnesota was playing only 8 guys, they would start to get a little tired. So I think if the Warriors can really put pressure on Anthony Edwards, like they do with Steph, make him work for everything that he's got to do on offense so that he's a little more tired on defense, that he rests on defense. And they need to be doing that with all of Minnesota's scorers and just attacking them and playing very aggressive as soon as they cross, the half court timeline, and just, blitz, blitz, blitz. And the Warriors can do that with 12 guys. Look, I don't expect, Spencer looked awful in game 2, but he could go out there for 3-minute spurts and just give you crazy defense and just, put pressure on these guys. Minnesota, you have to wear them down. So, because the game is going to come down to the last 5 minutes, and you want Minnesota kind of wiped out and the Warriors fresh. And I think that's how they win.
Gentlemen, I got about 6 minutes. I'm about to bounce.
No, we're wrapping. I said we're almost done. I just want to get into these pay chats, and then we are out. Thank you for being patient. Ryan Leong just texted me, said he had to bounce. He had to run. We're going long here. I apologize. MSQ dropping $1.99, saying that I'm putting on the crybaby character for the money respect. No, I'm not. Look, I can get passionate about things sometimes. Certain issues I care about more than others. And look, ultimately, I've been working in this industry for Frank. You've been working even longer than I have. So you've experienced this. Dan, I know your background's mostly in finance. I don't know how much experience you have in the media game. It's a toxic scene. It's a when we talk about fair and unfair, I agree, life is unfair. This world is unfair, but it doesn't mean we have to just accept that and just make decisions because life isn't fair. So we're just going to proceed to voluntarily treat others like shit. No, you can still try to make things fair. And my experience in the media industry is not a pleasant one. I was ready to honestly get out of it altogether. I was tapped until this new media paradigm emerged, and then I saw other shows covering the Warriors, and I was like, what the hell? And they're actually succeeding, and I realized, all right, maybe I'll get back into this. This is fun. But there are just certain things that I get passionate about. It's on me crying, and if you interpret it as such, agree to disagree. This is who I am. Yamed Urash is saying, is Larry okay? Have you guys heard from Larry? I haven't. I'm gonna guess he's fine.
I haven't.
Yeah, I think he's okay. He's just he covers a lot of shows. And he probably had enough of me, and I get it. Derwin Gaston, right? Dropping whatever P250 is, saying if Steve Kerr prioritized incorporating Kuminga after the trade and injury, perhaps Curry and Butler wouldn't be overworked and injured now. That's a good point. Both could have rested more while Kuminga took on some of the load. What are your thoughts on that? Because Stephen Curry did play 47 minutes in that game 7. And he played a lot in that Rockets series. And this has been a sentiment of mine as well. You have a deep bench. Why did you not tap into it to lessen the workload on Steph and Jimmy Butler? Frank, your thoughts?
It's not an unreasonable hypothesis. It really isn't. I mean, I'm saying we don't know. It's a conversation. Certainly, we do know that players of his age, the more minutes that you play, the more susceptible you are to injury. So, hey, man, I mean, they won the first round. Now they're in the second round. It isn't like he's completely done for the season. I'm hoping that he comes back in game 5,
Yeah.
So, it's sports, man.
Big time. And last one, and then we're done. Ankur Mishra, who, side note, if I have the right person here, he made me a logo. Guys, check this out, man. This was like one of those moments where I don't know how to handle compliments well. I don't know how to handle people going out of their way to be nice to me. I don't know how to react to that. So, and this was one of those moments. I'm going to show you guys what I mean in a second. This individual, if I have the right person, literally made a logo for the show. And I just would love your feedback real fast, if you don't mind. Here, this is what it looks like. Ankur, I can't thank you enough. I believe Ankur is a student at San Francisco State University. And just literally DMs me and is like, hey, what do you think about this? I'm like, you just made that voluntarily, like altruistically. I couldn't believe it. And I can't thank him enough. What do you guys think?
I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever gone out of their way to be that nice to you? Because I was shocked. I thank you, Ankur.
No, but let me say this. Ankur, follow me at Big Frank Red on Twitter, and maybe I'll give you a little business, man. We can just kind of talk, because that's excellent. I'm always looking for creative things to do with my logo in the Dungeon Show. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah, man, it's big time.
All right. Well, game 2's done, and I think I'm done. Let me play this music for the night, because I don't want to go through a show without playing some Feeding the Ducks. Any final thoughts? And let's talk. And here's how I want to end the show, if you guys don't mind. I want to ask you a serious basketball question real quick, because we didn't touch on this once. Guy Santos got a DNP tonight. I like Guy Santos. I like Guy Santos a lot. It wasn't that long ago that Steve Kerr was publicly saying he also likes Guy Santos. And he got a DNP tonight. Something tells me he can find a role in this series. He's not the greatest three-point shooter. He's not the greatest scorer in general, but the energy, he is athletic. He does bring size. He is a good basketball player, far from saying he's great, but he's good. Frank, is there a role for Guy Santos in this series?
I think in situational basketball, I have no problem with him going out there for a couple of minutes, but a role, I don't know about that, but I don't have a problem with him getting on the court. So,
what are your thoughts on Guy?
Yeah, I mean, I like it when he's, especially at home, he can get things going, get energy going. He's diving for balls, going up for rebounds, crashing, and I think there's, like Frank, there's a role. I think there's a role for it was the last series though, not this series. I wanted a role for one of the bench guys. What's the guy that never plays?
On the Warriors?
Yeah.
Braxton Key or Kevin Knox?
Yeah, Braxton Key. I thought he had a role, and his role was to go take out Dylan Brooks, because just the way Brooks plays, I was like, that series pissed me off so much. I wanted to see the Warriors go out and just bring in a hacker and just go in and just, give him a kind of like Spencer got thrown at. But no, I don't. I'm kidding, because I don't condone that. I don't like that kind of basketball, but never do I want to see any player get headhunted. But it sure seems like Steph has taken a lot in his career, and the NBA, for whatever dang reason, has not protected its greatest attraction. I mean,
all right, we'll leave it on this. Yeah, go ahead.
Take care.
No, before you go, last question, and then please, real fast, game 4. What are you expecting, Frank? And then hang up right after you give me an answer.
I expect the Warriors to come out and play with the level of intensity that they played tonight, make a few more plays down the stretch, and win the game. That's what I think.
I like it. Dan and Frank, have a great night, brother. We'll see you next game, hopefully. And people can follow you at Big Frank Red. Subscribe to The Dungeon. What's the easiest way people can find The Dungeon on YouTube?
I just go to YouTube and just write that in right there, and just hit the subscribe button. I'll be doing a show tomorrow night at 9 p.m., so check me out. All right?
What's the next movie review?
I saw Thunderbolts, the Marvel movies weekend.
And?
Pretty good.
So overhyped a little bit is what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
all right,
good.
All right. Well, good stuff.
All right.
Frank, thank you, brother. Have a good night. And Dan, what do you expect in game 4?
I'm expecting the Warriors to come out with desperation. Their season is on the brink, and they have to come out and play with an intensity. And, here's what I'll say. The Warriors, if they hit close to 40% in their threes, they'll win the game. If they're under 33, they'll lose the game.
All right. And the Warriors tonight, I don't know if we actually covered this or not. I don't think we did, because they went the entire first half without hitting a single three, yet they had the lead at the half. They led by 2 points.
Right.
And then they finished the game shooting 10 of 23 tonight, which is not a bad percentage, actually. They hit 43.5% of their threes. Minnesota, 13 of 34 from beyond the arc themselves, 38.2% of their threes. So, do you think the Warriors just need to make more? Is that
I think they need to take more. They only, like you said, they were 10 of 23, and that is good. Usually, if they shoot 43% in three, they win. But they're used to volume shooting 30. I mean, playoffs it's been less, but they're always, they've been over 30 attempts for most of these playoffs. So
We shall see. We shall see.
30
Game
attempts and 40%. What do you got to make? Is that 12? 6? No. 30% or 40% would be, 12. 12 of 30 would be 40%. So
That would be 40%, correct? Yeah, 'cause you just
they
flip it
need
around,
they need to
you know.
take at least 30, and they do better if they're closer to 40. Because if they make 16 to 40, that's quite a few points.
So even though the Warriors led at the end of the first half, despite going 0 of 5 from deep, you still think they need to take more threes? Like they need to score more? Is that where you're going? Basically?
Yeah, they're not scoring enough. As long as they, defensively. Oh, also they need to hold the T-Wolves to, I think, 95 or less to win.
Okay. Good stuff. All right, Dan, always a pleasure.
Very good. All right. Thanks,
Have a
guys.
great night, brother. Thank
All right,
you.
see you guys.
And that's the great Dan Coccimiglio. And I will wrap it up here solo. I don't know where Larry Krueger went. I'm hoping that he just wasn't feeling good and bounced out early. Again, him and I go back 25 years now. We've literally gone through wars. He knows I am loyal to him through and through. But whoa, press the wrong button there. But at the same time, I'm not going to switch my opinions up or switch what I believe just to make other people happy. That is not how I'm going to roll in life. And he knows that as well. And ultimately, if you don't like me because I criticize Steve Kerr, Jesus, apologies for that. Let me get the light fixed here. Sorry about that. If you don't like me because of Steve Kerr, that's your right. You're clearly entitled to that opinion. But just keep in mind that you have a distasteful opinion of me because I'm criticizing an $18 million a year man with incredible power and privilege who has had practically everything handed to him in life. Good for you. Great. I'm happy for you. But you're also in a position of power where your decisions are at times grossly impacting other people's. And in this case, I'm referring to the young players on this Warriors team. I'm incredibly thankful that Moses Moody got his contract extension. So regardless of the minutes, regardless of the treatment, he's going to be okay. And chances are Kuminga is also going to be okay. His performance tonight pretty much cemented a big contract extension for him this offseason. There are already Brooklyn Nets fans clamoring to sign him this offseason. They're going to offer him the max. Someone's going to offer Kuminga the max this offseason. And the Warriors are not going to just let him go. There's no chance in hell. So most likely, if the Warriors don't make the big offer to him this offseason, which is and I'm guessing the amount is going to change because what he was eligible for last year to this year, I think changes. We'll cover that in great detail in the near future. Monkey Checkup, by the way, is saying, I went too far. What personal attack? Follow that up, please. What personal attack did I make on anybody tonight? And Jeff saying, dude, stop hating on coaches, players because they have big bank accounts. That's stupid. Agree to disagree. If you are in a position of privilege and power and you're a public figure, that is what the media is for, to call you out when you do dumb shit. This has been the system since the dawn of sports. There have always been writers, and then when it became broadcasting, you had radio, and then when TV introduced, you suddenly had people on TV talking smack, and then you have everything going on today. And then you have people and this is where two empty balls, right? It's the message, it's the delivery. And I have a massive issue with anyone who judges someone else based on those exact things. Focus on the context. Focus on the words. If you don't like the delivery, that's on you. And you can also change the channel. But by trying to tell me that the delivery is the issue, you're basically telling me you don't like me as a person. And that's okay. Just move on. This is not the show for you. But I did not hear any personal attacks. Where is, oh, the 420. And look, side note 420, you know I'm going to be lighting one up right after. Thanks for subscribing. Sincerely appreciate that. There's sort of a human being out there somewhere. I heard someone sneezing outside. Two MT balls following up saying the delivery is why it's personal. Makes sense. That is not even a logical thing. So what, do you want me to talk quieter? Do you want me to go, and on today's show, we're going to talk about the Golden State Warriors. And I'm guessing you want me to smile more too, right? And Steve Kerr with his beautiful hair and his lovely skin. He did an okay job tonight. He was fantastic. And we have to respect the head coach for screwing other people's lives in the process because he's the head coach. He's a good-looking dude. He sounds smart. He delivers messages appropriately. And so I'm going to worship him, and I'm going to act like everyone else in the media and just say, yes, master. Whatever you say, master. You are the boss, sir. Whatever you say, I agree with. Is that what you want? Jeff in the chat is asking, if you worked your ass off at your job and got paid more because of it, should people at your job who do nothing have the right to say you shouldn't make that? No, I never once went there. No, that's not. And again, if Kuminga was actually doing things that fit this description, meaning he wasn't working hard, meaning he wasn't actually producing, I would agree with your sentiments that Kuminga should not play. But the numbers don't substantiate that. Josh Mira said, perhaps saying the funniest thing because of how off and wrong it is, saying I'm a spoiled child. Dude, so Dan Coccimiglio, I forgot to bring this up with him before he left. Like, he one time told me that he watched the movie that was based on J.D. Vance, right? What is it called? God damn it, I forgot the name of it now. Hillbilly Elegy, I think it's called. And Dan Coccimiglio was telling me, can you believe like that really hard upbringing that J.D. Vance had? Like, I have so much respect for a man who went through so much difficulties in life. And I didn't get a chance to answer him that day. And I was actually going to bring it up on the show tonight because I remember him saying that and that stuck with me. That movie did not make me flinch. I have never had a single thing in my life handed to me. I've never had a single thing in my life given to me, which would make me a spoiled individual. That's why I'm laughing at that. Dude, I grew up poor. The only thing I was lucky to have in life is a brain. That's it. And I actually believe in the ideology of working hard and being rewarded for it. I 100% respect that. The spoiled thing is wild. I have had less privilege than literally anyone else in this media game that you consume information-wise or otherwise, who's not this program or anyone. Find me someone who's had less in their life. The furthest thing I've ever been is spoiled. And if anything, if there's a reason why I'm sometimes a little emotional, it's probably because I did not have a single damn thing handed to me in my life. And I've routinely had assholes in positions of power making subjective decisions that routinely went against me. And Larry and I might have that discussion as well, because we worked together at KNBR for almost 10 years. And because one person put him behind a mic, he became a host. And because one person told me, well, you got to go and work in small markets for years and do this and that. And maybe we'll make you a host someday. Only to 2 years later, see Bonte Hill show up out of nowhere and be a host. Yeah, little bitterness there. Little experience with double standards and with the whole like, hey, well, you know, I don't think you're a fit now, but maybe someday. Next person, oh, you're great. Let's just put you behind the mic right now. And I'm guessing a lot of you have experienced that double standard treatment, that blatantly unfair treatment based solely off some asshole's feelings. And if you've been burned, then you get me, because yeah, I've been burned 1,000 times. And so when I say Steve Kerr treat Kuminga the way he is, it does resonate with me. I feel for the kid. He's also a good kid. Side note, I've actually gotten to get to know him a little bit. Yeah, sure, Adol. If you want to come on, you can. By the way, I.O. Soul is saying Larry got called by Raymond Ritter. Raymond Ritter is a good friend of mine. So I'm the only person challenging that head coach in this landscape. Raymond Ritter, and not to mention, like, I actually, unlike most other people, appreciate Joe Lacob because you can see what a bad owner can do, and there's no chance in hell you're getting rid of an owner ever. So if you get a bad owner, look at the Oakland A's, you're screwed. There could be a hell of a lot worse than Joe Lacob. Not only does he appreciate that I at least approach this pragmatically, but no, Raymond Ritter knows that nothing I say is actually personal, and I have a very long relationship with him. Max707 saying Bonte's better than Cy. Why? Are you using the same premise as Steve Kerr uses with Jonathan Kuminga? Because that's the only way you can substantiate that claim. Harry Balzac saying Larry works hard, he never stops. Agreed. He's a very hardworking person, and I consider him a good friend. Yeah, I never said Bonte Hill was bad. All I'm saying is that he came out of nowhere because he, I guess, worked under Marty Lurie for like 6 months, and then he got his own show. And look, the landscape changed dramatically from when I left to what it is now. Like, you have literally all you got to be is someone's kid, and you're going to get a microphone now. I mean, times have changed, but yeah, I've been burned. It sucks. Ray Ban saying Larry the GOAT. Agreed. I love Larry. Anthony Merkovich, right back at you. Boom. Are you guys ready for some Chardol? Chardol, you're on the show. Well, how's it going, brother?
Hey, Cy. I'm a big fan of YouTube.
You sent me a nasty message today. Anyone else would have just cut you off at that point. So I hope you understand. I hope you appreciate how forgiving I am, Chardol. Good to see you.
Cy, I'm a big fan of your YouTube channel. I love all your content videos on the platform. I think you do a great job covering the Warriors. I think you have a lot of great insight, and you share that with us on here, which I really love, and I respect you for what you do. Tough loss for the Warriors tonight. They fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves 102-97. Game 3 of the second round of the NBA playoffs. Minnesota leads the series 2-1. The Warriors have to win Game 4. That's a must-win game for Golden State. They have to win Game 4, or they're going to be out of the playoffs and eliminated for sure. And that's nothing I would love to see as a Warriors fan. I don't want to see that. I want to see the Warriors making it onto the finals.
Real fast, Chardol is saying, to be clear, I'm fine until I'm triggered. You don't just get emotional. You go off the rails. Look, Stephen A. Smith goes off the rails. Mike the Mad Dog, who I grew up listening to, goes off the rails. Howard Stern, the legend, goes off the rails. I'm going to actually take that as a compliment. A lot of it is performative. Just keep that in mind, all right? You're not succeeding in this industry if you don't make things spicy and entertaining. With that note, Chardol, continue. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sai, so what were your thoughts on what were your thoughts on the loss tonight? Like, was it alarming? Are you worried about it? Are you concerned that if the Warriors keep this up and if they lose Game 4 like this, yes, at this fashion, they're going to be in a lot of trouble? And Stephen Curry's out with that hamstring injury, and he's going to be out for probably Game 4, Game 5, and he's going to return for Game 6. So I'm a big fan of Stephen Curry, and I think that when he suffered that hamstring injury, I was concerned. I'm like, we're not going to win. Like, we're screwed. Like, if Stephen Curry's injured, we're screwed. Our life is on the line right now. Like, our life is on the line to win Game 4. Like, we have to win Game 4. There's no question about it. What are your thoughts about it?
My thoughts are, A, just because I'm engaging with this person, so I might as well continue. 2MT Ball saying emotional integrity matters. Agree to disagree. Not to mention, I don't know what your definition of emotional integrity is, but if you don't like it, that's your right. But I'm not changing for you or anyone else. So your question is about Game 4. It's a must-win, Chardol. I mean, if they lose Game 4, season's over, and then we got to start actually thinking about this offseason. I'm not putting thought into that yet. I still am holding out hope that this team can pull it together, find a way to win Game 4. Look, a lot of things. I know Frank said that Minnesota could have played a lot better, but they also could have played a lot worse. And what I mean by that is Julius Randle was insanely good tonight. He does not normally post triple doubles. Rudy Gobert, at least against the Warriors, does not dominate the inside like he did tonight. Anthony Edwards went ape shit in the second half, scoring 28 points. They can do a better job at least limiting him. It wasn't lost on me that every time Jonathan Kuminga was matched up on him defensively, Edwards was not having a good time, but Kerr was not doing that consistently. With all that said, I think Game 4 is very winnable. Absolutely is a must-win game. We've seen what Jimmy Butler does in must-win games. I thought he had a great game, but even he could do better. And with every day that passes, Jimmy Butler is going to feel healthier. That's an intangible and a variable that not enough people are talking about. That butt injury, his booty still hurts. And with every day that passes, it's going to get better and better. He's going to be more loose. And maybe some of the hesitation we will not see as much of moving forward. But Game 4, man, absolute must win. And it's panic time already.
I'm going to be attending.
Flaring if Game 4 is lost. Yeah,
I'm going to be attending the Game 4 watch party outside in Thrive City, outside Chase Center. I'm going to be there with my friend. This is my second watch party. I've watched one watch party inside the Chase Center against the Celtics when they were playing in the NBA Finals. So this is my second watch party that I've been to. My friend's first watch party. He's never been to a watch party ever before. And he's so excited to go to one and see the atmosphere and the electric, like how the electricity of the whole like of everything. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to celebrate with Dub Nation in Game 4 and get the win over the Timberwolves. Take care of business. So what are your tips? What are your tips if you want to provide the Warriors if they want to come into Game 4 and get a dub and take down this Timberwolves team who is dangerous, scary? They have Rudy Gobert, they have Anthony Edwards.
Hold on a second here, because a couple of my haters, and they were in Krueger's audience, which we're dual streaming tonight, is asking, is basically trying to lecture me, saying that it's Larry's show, both their shows. Do you not see that sign right above my head? Do you see that? That says Golden Days. That's the name of my show. Tonight's show is a dual stream. It is Larry's show, also my show. And when I came on that program that night, where Carl decided to just give an answer without giving any explanation to substantiate it, and he's on my show as much as Larry's, you're damn right I'm going to call him out for that. If you push back against me, which is your total right, but if you're going to come out and say that a journalist like Brian Windhorst is lying or has sources that are not reliable, and when I ask you, how do you know that? And your answer is, because, yeah, I'm going to call your ass out. And if you're going to defend that, you're right, but I think you're wrong also. And for the millionth time, Jeff, my show as much as Larry's. Go ahead, Shardal. I'm sorry. What's your question?
So what are some tips you would give to the Warriors if they want to come into Game 4 and get a win against Minnesota?
Dude, it's going to be tough. I mean, first of all, Kuminga played 35 minutes, 52 seconds. Make that 40. Brandin Podziemski played 39 minutes, 8 seconds. Make that 34. Maybe even make that a lot less. I think you're going to have to live or die with Moses Moody and Quinn Post, just because what they bring to the table as shooters, as spacers, and not to mention, even though Post has been colossally disappointing, but they both do bring size, athleticism, and defense to the table, and they play well on both sides. I think they're going to be needed. Gary Payton II, 25 minutes, 34 seconds. We can trim that down to 10. Little tweaks like that is what I would say. But this is a precarious position, brother.
As a diehard Warriors fan, this team is the most resilient team I know. Like, this team is highly resilient. Like, they're super resilient. They can, any adversity that comes their way, they can bounce back from it. Like, they can bounce back from anything comes their way. Negative, positive, anything. They can come their way. They bounce back. That's why I'm a big fan of the Warriors. I've been following the Warriors ever since. I love the Warriors. They're my team. I mean, I'm a Warriors.
Again, this is where just hateful assholes. 2 empty balls. I put the link in here. You could literally have a conversation with me instead of being a keyboard warrior douchebag asshole. But just to make it clear, what jobs is anything costing me?
So
I have
like
not
whenever
lost jobs in this industry, you stupid ignorant asshole.
whenever I go
Don't
on my
lie and go
channel,
back and forth, don't lie. All right.
So whenever
when
I
you
go
start lying and defaming, I take issue with that.
so
That's
whenever
our
I go on my channel, the thing I hate about people coming on my channel is I get bots on my channel all the time on my StreamYard. Like bots, like people, like I don't need you to be on my channel. Like if you hate my channel, stop coming on here and interacting with me. Just leave. Like, and I keep banning them out, and then they keep coming back. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, I banned you. You keep coming back, and then we ban you, and you keep coming back. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm fed up with this on my channel. Like, I banned the bot, and then seconds later he comes back into the channel. I'm like, should I ban you for 24 hours so you never ever come on my channel again? What do I do? Like, what do you expect me to do? Like, there's some random people in my chat. I don't even know who this person is in my chat. He comes coming into it. And I'm like, I don't need you to be in my chat. Like, I don't need bots in my chat.
Who's like, what's wrong with you, Cy? For real?
There's nothing wrong with Cy. Cy is just trying to make a living.
Head coach who just gets this ridiculous pass. No one criticizes him. There's zero accountability. He treated a valuable asset like Jonathan Kuminga like total shit. He's never developed a single young player. They've underachieved for 3 years now. That's my problem.
Tocito Scooper, I'm telling you,
real problem, and you don't like hearing that shit. So
Tocito Scooper, I have a question for you. There's nothing wrong with Cy. He has his opinion. You can have your opinion if you want, and somebody disagrees with it. It's a freedom. America's a freedom of speech, right? You get to say whatever you want. And if Tocito Scooper doesn't agree with what you say, he doesn't have to come on your show. It's plain and simple, right? Plain and simple.
Sherdal, who else in this psychotic media game is actually engaging with the audience like this? Is anyone else?
I don't want to engage with people like that. I don't have time to engage people like that in the chat. I have other things to do. I have other lives to live. I have other things to do. I go to work. I have a part-time job that I have to go to. So I don't have time to deal with people like that. So I can't deal with people like that. Like, please, you're a waste of my time. Please, I cannot interact with you.
Chris Noble saying, I don't understand this show. You have to give them money to ask questions. No, it's just some people are generous enough to offer pay chats, which will get our attention. So on a night like this where the chat is just flooded, we'll start.
And I always love calling your show because everybody calls me a legend and an OG when I come on Golden Days.
Oh, that's good. Okay, that's good. Well, you are an OG. Sherdal, I'm a legend. Julian was there a second ago and he bounced. Any final thoughts?
I'm a legend, right? On the show.
You are a legend. Yes.
So overall, tough loss for the Warriors. They go down to Minnesota 102-97. I'm 100% optimistic that this team will come into Game 4 and get a win, because Game 4 is a must-win for Golden State. They have to win Game 4. Like, there's nothing else about it. You lose that game, you're screwed. And your Stephen Curry's out too, with a hamstring injury that he suffered in Game 1 against Minnesota.
So they got have a great night, brother. Have a great night.
Viewers, make sure to click the like button, smash the subscribe button, ring that notification bell for Golden Days. And Cy, in reference to the Matthew McConaughey Stoner movie, Dazed and Confused, he makes some great Warriors content. If you want to find me on social media, my YouTube handle is SGA Sports Talk Channel. I'm at 401 subscribers right now. I'm on the road to 500 subs. So if you would go there and click the like and subscribe button for me, that would really help the YouTube algorithm. That'll really that'll really mean the world to me if people do that. But I love you, Cy. You're a great professor at San Jose State. You're also a great host on Golden Days. I love calling to your show every single night. It gives me an honor to call into your show. Like, you know, you just have that positive light to you that you can inspire me, even though the Warriors win or the Warriors lose. I love calling to your show. I'll definitely call into the show another time, but I hope you have a great rest of your night. And you make life, Sherdal, you make life interesting, and just I love to make things spicy a little bit.
You do. Sherdal, I want to get to other folks. Have a great night. Julian, go for it, brother. We got time for you and AIM, and then I'm gonna wrap the show up.
I bounced and came back, and I saw Sherdal, and I was like, oh wow.
I'm glad you came back. What's on your mind, brother?
I would just say that you've been putting over a lot of shit, but you've been right about a lot of things. especially when it comes to the Steve Kerr subject. He is a Hall of Fame coach, but he's cost us so much time, so many games, and it's infuriating. And I just wish that we would have, especially in game 2, you did all this experimentation, but you didn't do the one experimentation that we needed, which is run Jimmy Butler at point guard, do Buddy Hield, Kuminga at small forward, Green at power forward, and give us a center and see how that goes.
Well, real quick, I gotta like Simon Baker. What bridges am I burning, dude? Again, just don't lie. Just don't lie. All right. Like what bridges am I burning? Just because I call out an $18 million a year head coach does not mean I'm burning bridges. Okay. He's a public figure. I'm a media member. I'm calling him out for a lot of dumb shit. You might not like, you definitely don't like it, clearly, because I don't think you'd care otherwise. But just don't lie, dude. I'm not burning bridges. All right. If anything, I'm blessed in life to have a lot of incredible relationships, friendships, because I don't like to burn bridges. Julian, go ahead.
I see Geoff or Jeff. Carl, I was watching that stream. Carl's a fucking dickhead. I saw that. So I asked him a very common sense question. He says, "Oh no, that's not the case," even though Brian Windhurst reported something. All right, Carl, what can you bring to the table to back up with what you were saying? He couldn't do anything. He's like, "Oh, just because." No, that's not the case. That's not the case. I'm like, say something. I mean, I never saw that dude before, but no, burn that fucking bridge, because that dude was a fucking idiot.
Carl and I will make peace at some point. I haven't seen him in like a year. He's a former AAU coach, right? From a long ass time ago. This was like 20 years ago at least. And so I don't doubt he has some connections, but again, don't come at a program like this where the entire format is just talk, is trying to make points, is trying to be entertaining while going back and forth on important sports subjects. Don't come into a format like that and give answers because that just is not going to fly, man. And this is a show like Jack Geoffer here, for example, saying you burned a bridge with Carl, now Larry. Again, Larry and I go back 25 years. We're very old friends. I don't know why he bounced tonight. He probably was tired. He probably did not want to hear my shit, because he's like every other media member who, for whatever reason, is deathly afraid of Steve Kerr. And part of the reason why they're afraid of him is because the one other person who ever spoke out was Drew Schiller, and he got fired right after that because Steve Kerr did not appreciate the criticism. He's literally instilled fear among the members of the media. F that. I'm not subscribing to that cup of tea, man. I don't make decisions in life based on being afraid of the repercussions. So look, you can have your opinions, but don't lie about the
clearly either they know the story or they don't. But Simon Baker saying you burned bridges with Locked On Warriors, and I've heard you talk about it. They chose people that have less talent, less connections, less effort into that channel than you. So you were right to start doing your own thing, and it's been much more fun.
Well, and just again, the truth will always protect you, at least when it comes to slander, defamation, all these copyright. And I've been very forthright and honest about what happened with Locked On. I had a partner in Kylan Mills who I brought on myself. I hired her, and Locked On does not pay their host, right? Nobody there gets a salary. The entire financial structure of Locked On is the hosts get 80% of the advertising revenue. The network itself gets 20%. And the network is owned by a company called Tegna, which was once part of USA Today, and they branched off. So they're a corporation, and despite having incredible resources, they don't pay their hosts a dime. You have to earn every penny, right? So when I got hired to take over Locked On, originally it was with me and Dieter. And Dieter had virtually no interest in investing time and energy into it. He did not care about growing it. And so after a few months, he bounced. He did not want to play that game. I took it over, grew the thing into a decent program. I bring Kylan in, and then about 6 months before I left, Kylan Mills just stopped showing up. Okay, she would show up occasionally, but the records are right there. Every show is public. You can go back and see Kylan was missing sometimes for weeks, even a month at a time. And she would also admit to me on the show that she doesn't watch all the games. Like there was one episode where I asked her, I'm like, what did you think about this Brooklyn Nets game? She goes, oh, I didn't actually watch it. I'm like, I don't see her going, what? Like I'm investing my life into this. Like I spend every minute of my professional life, which has absorbed the vast majority of my life in general, studying the Warriors. Like my entire goal is to be accurate and right on this. I don't want to feed you guys misinformation or poor analysis. So, and I suddenly find out I have a co-host who's already focused on other things. Locked On Warriors is just like an afterthought for her. And she's getting 20% of my revenue because that's how she got hired on. She agreed for 1 day a week to take 20% of the advertising revenue, but she stopped showing up 1 day a week. She started showing up when she felt like it. So I took issue with that. All I wanted was her to be gone so that I could get 100% of the revenue that I was earning. It wasn't lost to me as well that every episode she was on, we actually had less views. And so I brought that up. I'm like, look, she's bringing nothing to the table in terms of numbers. She's not showing up anymore. And she didn't want to leave either. And on top of that, like the founder of the company's like sending her text, like you remind me of my wife. And so now it's like, oh boy. So now the CEO of the company, who knows what his feelings are about her, but he's got a bias here. And so I said, F this. And being with Locked On Warriors for 3 years taught me how to make money doing this. I was lucky enough to build an audience with that program. And here we are today. I decided to venture off, do my own thing. So I don't have a co-host mailing it in, stealing my money. I don't have a network with a CEO who's whatever's going on there. I just would rather be independent, and I'm very lucky. That's not lost on me. I'm very lucky to be in this position, and here we are today with Golden Days. So yeah. And Mindspringers is saying I made a bad choice on that. Admit that. No, I'm making way more money now. Why would I admit that's a bad decision? I have freedom now. I'm making more money. In what world would it be better for me to stay there when I'm making less and I have no freedom? Come on now. That's the story.
Yeah, Jeff's probably not making nothing except being a troll in the chat. But back to the Warriors. Let's see
real quick, one more thing. Simon Baker, look, I'll answer all you trolls, man. I'm not afraid. So Simon Baker is saying you don't have the guts to talk shit to Athletic Alchemy. Athletic Alchemy was a guest on my show. I invited him. He came on. I thought we did a good time. And then he didn't want to work with me anymore because he started being afraid of me taking viewers from him. He felt threatened by me. So he started giving me runarounds every time I wanted to follow up with him. But we had one episode and I thought it was great and I wanted to work with him some more, but he viewed me as a threat in terms of viewers and stealing audience members. And it's a shame, man, because I really wanted to work with him some more, but no, it's not. We did a show together. I'm not afraid of him or any other human being for that matter. So more lies that I can correct. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's just talk Warriors. I think tonight showed that, I would say this, I said it in the chat, Draymond Green is close to getting suspension and Curry got that injury. I will put on Steve Kerr for not trusting other players in the Rocket series because he overplayed them, and that was a really tough physical series where Draymond had to bring that out of him as far as flagrant for flagrant because they were roughing people up. He had to get technicals, so he's at that borderline because you had a 30-point per game scorer on the bench that you didn't give any time to. He could have saved you from some technicals from flagrants, probably ended that series in 6 and saved Curry a few minutes where his hamstring wasn't pulled. I'm just saying. But I think tonight proved you right, myself right, anybody that's been saying for the last 3 years, when Kuminga gets minutes, he produces. And I don't know if anyone in the chat or the people that complain, if they actually played ball, I'll give them the example. I'm 6'3". I've hit my peak height like in 9th grade. And most people, since I'm technically tall, they want me to be a center when I'm playing. But I can shoot and I can pass and I have great handles. But if you put me in a position where I don't like to be, I get uncomfortable. And then I have a bunch of 5'5", 5'9" guys that want to shoot. And so there's a period of my life where when I would shoot, I feel everyone's eyes and angst and like, oh, don't do it, because they assume a big guy or a tall guy can't shoot. And so not only am I thinking about that when I'm shooting, if I miss it the first time, everyone, oh, you should shouldn't have done it. If I make it the first time, I'm thinking, okay, good, now I can take another shot. But that's in your head. Same thing with coaching. If your coach does not believe in you, you're going to overthink everything until you get your rhythm back. I encourage everyone in the chat to look at, type in Kuminga after game loss to the Clippers. He was in the gym. He stayed afterwards, and you see him that he's putting the shots in. And so anything that we've seen from Kuminga as far as the struggle since he came back from the ankle injury is just because the coach is not believing in him.
Yeah,
like he trains a certain way. You brought up Athletic Alchemy, and I don't want to promote other shows, but he made
I'm not criticizing him either. I don't think he's a bad host. I think he makes a lot of good points, and I haven't watched his show that often, but I like him. I really do. I'm bummed out that he didn't want to work together more. But look, I get it as well, man.
Yeah, and Ray Bandens. I'm not saying I'm 6'3". I know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about perceptions when people see you and they ask you to do something you don't train for. So I'm saying Kuminga, he trains for it as like an attacker. So his game is, I need to score, I need to attack, because he grew up in the Congo, came over here, so he only trains one way. He never played pickup ball. He never learned a different position. They said, hey, you're super athletic, learn how to attack, run, dunk, and shoot, because that's what he thinks basketball is. That's what he's good at. Now, the $18 million coach that we have needed to identify that and say, when he's on the floor, Jimmy, if you're so smart, Draymond, you're so smart, Steph, you're so smart, this guy, we don't have to play through him, but this is his role as the attacker. Like, you don't have Jamal Crawford on your team and tell him to get 15 rebounds. You don't have Dennis Rodman on your team and say, oh, hey, give me 10 assists and run the team. Know your staff and make it work. You don't sit your best player, and that's something that Frank was saying. Play your best players, figure it out. That's all I'm saying. And tonight proved that. No,
and look, what was lost on that Ray guy and a couple others with your point is that you had a coach who was not helping you. You had it I guess what I think. Let me know if I follow you correctly here.
Yeah.
There was a premise that if someone becomes a coach, or if they are a coach, that they're just automatically a great dude who knows what they're doing. And my experience, and I played athletics most of my life, is that there's a lot of coaches out there who suck ass. There's a lot of coaches out there who either don't know what they're doing, but they got that position anyways, or they do know what they're doing, but they mistreat personnel. And like I was, for example, played out of position routinely. I hated it as well. I feel you on that 100%. Like a coach should be playing players in a position that they're most comfortable in, so you can get the maximum output from them. And that's a philosophy I believe in. Not every coach believes that. But my point is, I feel you, man. If that's what you were trying to say, that like not every coach is great. In the same way, not every teacher is great. There's we're all human beings. We can be fallible, and some coaches suck. Especially if they try to play out of position.
You have to live with the good and the bad. Like, imagine if you didn't play Shaq because he misses free throws, and one thing we got to give Kerr credit for is that he did develop Draymond Green. I'll say that. I think that he identified, and that's where I don't understand. But I don't understand the shift that he had, because you had an all-star David Lee, who on the Knicks scored 30 points and 20 rebounds. You see this guy Draymond Green, that not really a scorer, but you said he might be better for this lineup than anything prior. So you made that happen. And so what happened? We're like 13, 12 years later. And so that's what I say. You got to identify what someone's good at and let them be that. And so forcing them to say, no, I'm not going to play you.
Have a great night, Julian. It was great to see you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really was. And we're going to end the show. Again, some members of the Krueger show, I think, are still with us. I could tell by all the toxic posts. It is not lost on me that only the negativity is coming from Krueger's side. We're going to end the show here with the silkiest voice, at least in the Golden Days audience. I'm talking very white smooth. And he also brings some great takes on top of that. And that is Aim Assist. Aim, the floor is yours. I will shut up, sir. Aim. Well, while we wait for Aim, brand new Horror accuses me of being an asshole. Why? Is it because of my delivery? Or is it because I have the audacity of criticizing a head coach? Like, what makes me an asshole? I'd love to know the reasoning for the why of that. Because God forbid I criticize Steve Kerr. There's like 3 people who are just no, I'm sorry. There's 4 people in the chat who are just vile, just very ignorant, moronic. Oh, I see all of you. Yeah, I see you, Ray. I see all of you. Is AIM back? Let's try this again. AIM.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, there we go. Man, Cyrus, man. We've been saying this.
And they don't like to hear it. And they don't like to hear it.
These old heads talking about JK's low IQ. Oh, JK, when JK drops 20, we lose. How about you add context to that? Well, we didn't have Curry when we lost against those other teams. Like, what are you talking about? And then we lost last game. We didn't have Curry. Like, when people say this, bro, it's like stupid. And then JK is a rhythm player, just like JP and these other players. Bro, you telling me if you throw JK out there for 3 minutes and he has 1 turnover, oh, he had a bad game? Duh, he's a rhythm player. He has to feel it. So if you throw him out there for 5 minutes and he hasn't played for 4 straight games, he's obviously gonna have a bad game. Like, that never made sense to me. Like, that's the worst thing ever. And then I usually don't agree with the Kerr stuff, but TJD only playing 11 minutes is an atrocity. Looney is horrible. He was bad today. He had 2 crucial turnovers. He had this dumbass pass. I don't know what he was doing. Like, he just touchdown passed it to Ant or something. And then he's just too slow on his feet. TJD literally proved that he could be that third option for us on scoring. And Kerr just said, oh, I'm going to just bench you the whole second half and I'm going to just put you in with 59 seconds left. Like, that's ridiculous, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, man.
It's utterly ridiculous. Kevon Looney did not have a good game tonight. He fouled out. And again, this is where I at the beginning of the show, I did not understand why Larry did not want to touch the subject of the refs. It made me wonder if he even watched the game, because the refs played such a big role in this game tonight. Draymond Green was missing for like half the third quarter and fourth because he was in foul trouble. Like, don't tell me the refs weren't playing a huge part in this game tonight. And then he fouled out, and so did Kevon Looney. It also brings up even a bigger issue, which is that size matters in basketball. And this is what happens when you play the small ball bullshit. It comes back to bite you in the ass. You have to value size. Small ball works when you have a backcourt like Steph and Klay Thompson. When you don't have that, you need size. Tonight showed it yet again. Any final thoughts, Sam?
Yeah, another thing, Podziemski, man, I usually advocate for him, but bro, oh my gosh, man. And the thing is, we're forced to play Pods because, you know, we don't have another point guard except Pat, and Pat just isn't reliable enough, man. Pods is literally giving you nothing at this point, like nothing. And I can understand why Booty doesn't play. He's lost his shot, but I still play him over GPU. And I'm sorry, Cypher. I didn't understand why you criticized GP that one time, but I see it now. Like, GP's just not that good of a defender anymore. He's not. Every time I see him guard Ant, he's literally getting blown by. And it's like Moody does too, but if GP's producing the same amount of defense and no offense, and then it's like, why not even play Moody? Like, GP's mediocre at this point. Like, he's really not that good anymore. So I don't understand. And JK does need to be in the starting lineup, and TJD needs to play 20 plus minutes. I don't want to see Looney. I don't want to see GP. Like, those guys shouldn't be playing this much minutes over the young guys. Like, it's really getting ridiculous. But other than that, the turnovers, Draymond just had a horrible game. He didn't contribute anything offensively. Like, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but that's all I had.
9 turnovers tonight. It was not good.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's horrible. You can't be playing like that. You really can't. But The refs
Game, I
did
always
play a
have respect
role.
for your take. So before you go, end your appearance here, and we'll end the show on this note as well. Game 4, how are you feeling, man?
Man, people are so pessimistic, but I feel like, if anything, Game 3 and Game 4 showed us that we can win. Well, showed us that we can win against the Wolves. Like, I was so mad at this loss. This is the most angry I've been this year at a loss because we were literally right there. We had it. We were up 5 with 6 minutes to go in the fourth. We had the game. We just let it go. If anything, and the Wolves aren't even playing good. Like, Cyrus, you notice the Rockets were the toughest defense we're probably gonna face in this whole playoffs unless we get to like Boston or something. Like they're not even that. The Wolves aren't even that good. That's what's making me mad. Like, they're really not that good. The Lakers were just horrible. The Lakers just weren't that good. Like, the Wolves play. They have better offense. I'll get them that, but their defense is not on par with the Rockets. That's why I'm so frustrated because we were right there. So if we make the right adjustments, we can win against the Wolves Game 4.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, brother.
Yeah, I'll see you, Si. Hey, have a good night.
You too, man. I'm waiting for the mic drop. Normally, you nail the mic drop. I'm waiting for it. There it is. And he's gone. And like that. Wait, that's Damon's line. All right, I'm done. Interesting night. Krueger Show audience. I feel like it's a love-hate relationship with you folks. I'm here for all of it. Golden Dazers, thank you as always. And if you're part of the Krueger Show and you have not subscribed to Golden Days, even if you hate me, I still welcome you. Otherwise, Golden Days will be back Monday with tomorrow's Mother's Day. And is it? Someone told me, I think Rick Berry told me tomorrow's Mother's Day. Well, if it is, regardless, I don't think we're going to have a show tomorrow. So we're back at this Monday night, Game 4. I hope Krueger's a part of it. If not, these post-game shows are fun. Jeff wants me to apologize to Larry. For what? For that. I'm tired, dude. Don't just stop with this conformity bullshit. Stop with your stupid societal norms bullshit. None of that matters to me, man. Just be real. Just know what you're talking about. Be authentic. Be a good person. And that applies to you, Steve Kerr. Don't screw young players, man, so that you could pretend you're like the smartest guy in the room. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Grand Admiral Posey. We will touch on the salary cap soon. Believe me, there's a whole summer where we're going to get into this. But I will say this right off the bat, in case you're wondering, can the Warriors re-sign Jonathan Kuminga? Absolutely, yes. They will have room in their salary cap because the cap's going to go up next year. You're going to get GP2's salary off the books. You're going to get Kevon Looney's salary off the books. I know Jimmy Butler's is going to go up a little bit from what he's making now. Let me look that up real fast before we go. Kerr was saying I wasn't going to look into it, and then I'm looking into it. I'm curious myself because Jimmy Butler. But the point is, Jimmy Butler's salary is going to go up a little bit. Draymond Green's salary is mostly constant. Buddy Hield makes a little bit of money. Podziemski makes a little bit of money. But if you're wondering, can the Warriors afford Kuminga and still be active in the market? Yes, it can be. Because again, the Looney and GP2 money is going to come off the books. The cap's going to go up. I'm forgetting something else too, and that's why it's late. Jesus Christ, almost 3 hours. Simon's asking, can we sign anyone if Kuminga's re-signed? Yeah, absolutely. They will be a first apron team. I think they might have to miss the second. They have hopes of missing the second apron though. But anyways. Grand Admiral Posey's following up saying, can they keep Looney and Kuminga if Looney comes back for a veteran minimum? Or again, I got to study this because one thing teams do is they might, for example, push back Kuminga's contract extension so that they can do other things first and then give him the deal. They can be creative. All right, so make sure I got everything else. Don't pay chats. We good? Blake Lewis is saying, watch the last Gilbert Arenas show. Is that the one where they accuse the Warriors of sabotaging Kuminga so that his contract value goes down this offseason? Very conspiracy-ish, very cynical. They might be right, though. I have no idea. But, I mean, that's some sinister shit, if that's true. Anyways, all right. No, Simon, we're done. And for the Krueger Show fans, the 3 or 4 of you that have no better life than just to be obsessed with me, I'm gone. I'm bye. You don't have to deal with me ever again. But if you want smart, insightful Warriors takes, and with an occasional hint of a little emotion when Steve Kerr does dumb shit, that's the only time I go crazy, by the way. And I've said this before. I said it with Dave and Bruce just on Warriors Weekly, which we do every Wednesday. Win that 5th championship, and I will join the parade of Steve Kerr ass kissers. Consider me a part of it. But anything less than 5 titles for Steph, and you've let him down. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, Ray, you're obsessed. You're still here. You are still here. You are absolutely obsessed. Don't fool yourself. All right, everybody, we're done. Larry, I love you. Hope to work with you again, and if not, it was a pleasure. And for everyone else, thank you as always. Golden Dazers. We're back at this very soon. Again, Monday, we got postgame. Rick Barry's joining the show Tuesday. Sophia Jones, V for Valkyries, later next week. Danny Emmerman of the San Francisco Standard is going to join the show soon as well. We've got a lot coming up. Thank you, everybody. And Kerr, thank you for the incredible logo. Thank you. Thank you to everyone. This was a rough game tonight. It's not cool that they lost. Not cool at all. Series is not over, though. Monday is the entire season. Good news, if there's any, is that Kuminga's out of the doghouse. At least the best players are playing. Anyways, all right, we're done. Thank you again. And bye-bye.